Relationship between India and Namibia are very good because we started long before Namibia got independence in 1946, when India was one of the first countries to support Namibia's independence. And the cheetahs are thriving well in India, but the numbers that are there are not enough to have a good balanced ecological balance. We need more of cheetahs. So at some point of time, and I'm sure the Prime Minister's visit will surely lead to Project Cheetah 2 from Namibia.
Let's get you again the latest as far as US President Donald Trump is concerned. And he has said that the United States will hold talks with Iran. Trump said, and I quote, that they're requesting a meeting, like basically Iran has requested a meeting. And if we can put something down on paper, that'll be fine. It'll be good, is what Donald Trump has gone on to say. Now, Trump's Middle East representative has said that the meeting will take place in a week's time from now. It could be next week or so. However, Iran has rejected that it's the one that approached the United States for that meeting. My colleague Vishal Vivek has all the details.
Resets, really. I would say that's resets, not just the one. The one was a big one.
A dramatic twist in one of the world's most volatile rivalries. Just days after a sharp rise in tensions, United States President Donald Trump now striking a different tone, suggesting nuclear talks will restart soon.
We have scheduled Iran talks, and they want to talk. They took a big drubbing.
But Tehran has rebuffed Trump's claims on nuclear negotiations. In an unambiguous rejection, Iran says it hasn't asked for any talks. Many questions remain. Is this Trump's classic negotiating style or a genuine pivot towards diplomacy? And is Iran buying it? On one side, a US president eyeing legacy, attention-grabbing headlines and global calm. On the other, a nation wounded by sanctions, yet defiant, cautious and cornered. Trump could be offering a window, but Iran's mistrust runs deep. Without concrete steps, these words may be nothing but smoke. The world watches. Will diplomacy emerge from the ruins of mistrust or collapse under the weight of pride and pressure? Is it a dance of diplomacy or a duel of deception? The next move could reshape the Middle East. With Vishal Vivek, Bureau Report, NDTV World.
Breaking news coming in, and this is in regard to Bollywood actor Alia Bhatt's former manager Vedika Shetty, who has now been arrested by the police in Mumbai in connection with a fraud that took place to the tune of 77 lakh rupees. The arrest comes after Alia Bhatt's mother, who had formally filed a complaint in the month of January this year. So 5 months after that complaint that was filed by Soni Rasan, the actor's former personal assistant has been arrested after being accused of misconduct or financial dealings to the tune of 77 lakhs. The Mumbai police has arrested the former manager of Alia Bhatt. To know more on this, we have my colleague Paras joining us. Paras, take us through the details of what really happened here, and this finally an arrest has been made in the case. But this is something that Soni Rasan complained earlier in the beginning of the year. Where was this Vedika Shetty arrested from, and what is the case against her? Well, Paras will be with us, joining us very, very shortly. But according to the police, she had allegedly forged signatures, Alia Bhatt's signatures, and siphoned off funds over a period of 2 years. Well, Vedika Shetty was her personal manager from 2021 up until 2024. And these are signatures that she had, forged in order to siphon off funds over the last 2 years. The fraud reportedly involved unauthorized transactions amounting to 77 lakh rupees. She was tracked down and arrested from Bengaluru and later produced before a court in Mumbai. The investigation has been ongoing since the FIR that was registered by the mother of the actor. Let's just get you the very latest as the International Space Station flew over India. Well, these are astrophotographers and amateurs alike turned their cameras to the skies, possibly mirroring the awe-filled gaze with much excitement. This is with Indian astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla on board. Must have been looking at his country while the football field-sized ISS passed over Delhi NCR on Monday night. Sightings will continue till the 12th of July. Among the earliest glimpses, as far as the glimpses of the ISS, the passage as far as Delhi is concerned, that was captured by renowned astrophotographers Ajay Talwar and his wife Neelam Talwar. These are pictures that you can see on your screen at the moment of those astrophotographers capturing that moment.
It was a very proud moment for me when I looked up through the monsoon clouds that are prevalent here in the National Capital Region. The faint brightness of the International Space Station appeared on the western horizon and steadily grew brighter and brighter as it approached the zenith. My camera was ready and it was clicking continuously at this epic and moment when an Indian was aboard the International Space Station. I lovingly waved towards the space station, and I was wondering whether Subhanshu Shukla was looking down on India or not. It was a very heartwarming moment for me to capture the space station crossing the sky over India.
Any message you have for Subhanshu?
Well, he must be busy with his experiments, and I wonder, we over here on the Earth, surface of the Earth, we live a 24-hour day and night. He, in this space station, is living a 90 minutes day. So, and of course, you're not always looking outside. He must be busy learning a lot and in preparation for the space flight of India, Gaganyaan. So I'm very happy to have captured, and best wishes to Subhanshu for his successful mission.
And switching tracks to sports news now. And a year ago, 6-year-old Ayush from Faridabad he was a fan of Jasprit Bumrah and tried to bowl like him. Unfortunately, in an electric current accident, the little boy lost both his hands. But within a year, Ayush has become the world's youngest para archer. NDTV's correspondent Vimal Mohan tracked the boy in order to know his story. Listen in.
Six-year-old Ayush Kumar from Faridabad is learning the tricks of archery. Ayush is the world's youngest para-archer participating in this sport, despite having no arms. A year ago, an accident with an electric wire led to him losing his arms. But he did not lose his spirit. Little Ayush is dreaming big of becoming an archer.
क्या आपको लगता है आर्चरी कर लोगे? क्यों आपको लगता है? सर बताते हैं इसलिए हिम्मत कौन देता है?
यस सर और मम्मी पापा.
सर और मम्मी पापा. चैंपियन बनना है.
चैंपियन बनना है.
चैंपियन बनना है तो चैंपियन बोलना पड़ेगा.
मुझे लगा कि ये कर पाएगा और फिर मैंने इसको टैलेंट स्काउटिंग के लिए बुलाया यहाँ पे. तो ये अभी समर कैंप के दौरान हमारे पास है और ट्रेनिंग कर रहा है और बहुत ही अच्छा करेगा. ये जब 12 साल का होगा इंडिया टीम में होगा, ऐसी मेरी गट्स फीलिंग है.
Ayush's mother can't forget the incident last year. Para archery has brought a new ray of hope for the family.
सर वो हादसा हुआ था 12 जुलाई को 2024 में. सर पता नहीं कैसे घर से गया था कि मैं अपनी चाची के पास खेलने जा रहा हूँ. वहाँ पे पता नहीं, ये जैसे पता है या राम जी को पता है, पता नहीं इसने क्या किया. जब भटर भटर की आवाज़ हो रही ना, आग लगी, हमें तब पता चला कि बिजली ने पकड़ लिया.
At the para archery summer camp in Bhagpat's Dhanori Tikri village, Ayush is also getting a chance to learn from archers like Payal Nag. Payal Nag has defeated world champion and Paralympic medalist Sheetal Devi in the nationals and is now stunned by the courage of little Ayush.
मेरे चाचा से बात किया, मैं पूछी ये करना चाहते हो? हाँ, बहुत कुछ बातें भी किया. मुझे अच्छा लगा और इसकी हिम्मत मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगी कि इतने छोटे टाइम में ये सब करना चाहता है और आगे जाना चाहता है, तो ज़रूर आगे जाएगा आगे.
6-year-old Ayush is a symbol of hope. Thousands of books have been written on how to turn our weakness into strength. But this inspiring tale of Ayush overshadows them all. With Vimal Mohan and camera person Sachin Gupta from Bhagpat, Uttar Pradesh, NDTV Bureau Report.
Tamil Nadu.
Well, the battle for Tamil Nadu 2026 is open now.
After Chief Minister Stalin rolls up his sleeves. And Vijay steps in as a star challenger.
This is a mass gathering, not for cash.
Meanwhile, a former Chief Minister, Edapadi Palanisammy, begins his fight back.
The big comeback campaign by EPS has well and truly begun.
These are all the ultimate players, and this is going to be the ultimate test.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
Preventing them from interacting with the media or posting anything online or reacting to anything on their social media platforms. And a new probe twist as far as Air India crash of Flight 171 is concerned. The International Aviation Journal's news break in regard to the focus perhaps could be on improper movement of fuel switches, and that perhaps could be the reason that led to the crash, while the initial report is expected to be out later this week. And Bihar voter list row that has erupted with the Patna bracing for the opposition versus the Election Commission is going to be Rahul Gandhi joining hands with Tejasvi Yadav for that Patna protest, the Chakka jam that's going to be taking place. PK Shivkumar and Sitaramaiah to be holding a meeting here in the national capital with the High Command as far as the Congress party is concerned, fueling speculations about a possible change of guard.
Some say sport is a matter of life and death. The truth is, it is far more serious than that. Sport is about ecstasy and agony, about pain and suffering, about joy and much more. Some say there's no one better to tell these stories. So here I am. Join me, Boria Majumdar, on India's #1 news network.
Vanakkam Tamil Nadu.
Well, the battle for Tamil Nadu 2026 is open now.
After Chief Minister Stalin rolls up his sleeves. And Vijay steps in as a star challenger.
This is a mass gathering, not for cash.
Meanwhile, a former Chief Minister, Edapadi Palanisammy, begins his fight back.
The big comeback campaign by EPS has well and truly begun.
These are all the ultimate players, and this is going to be the ultimate test.
Vishnu, 9 years till the AMCA comes online, the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, which is India's own stealth fighter project. 9 years is an eternity in fighter technology, especially given what we've been seeing in the last few years, whether it comes to, drone tech, drone warfare, manned, unmanned teaming, which we've spoken about in a previous episode, the sheer scale of the network and how it's becoming very much part of the future battlefield. I'm wondering whether 9 years from now, what we perceive to be a 5th generation aircraft is going to look like vintage stuff.
And what's more, we want to crack a century on debut with our first stealth fighter. What are the chances of that happening? The number of technologies which you need to master. It's not just low observability, but reliability of the engine, integration of the GF414 engine onto that platform, if indeed that's the engine that's finally selected. The radar itself will be new build. We made a lot of progress as far as that is concerned. But weapons integration with the latest generation Astra missiles, presumably, all of that has to work. A stealth platform isn't just low observable, it's also got distributed arrays. In other words, it's got radars and other sensors, electro-optical sensors located across the platform. So that the pilot over there uses the aircraft not just as a fighter but as a sensor. It is a sensor within a group of sensors which acquire information, pass it on through data links, and use it to exploit airspace, hit targets on the air or on the ground or out at sea. All of those sensors, radars, technology, low observability, the fly-by-wire control system, the new generations of weapons that you've got online, they all have to work all together. Because otherwise, after 10 years, if it doesn't work all together, you're tinkering with it and you're fixing it, and you get into a situation where it's taken 15, 20 years for this to actually be the way you want it, then you're already far behind the curve. Look at how far behind the curve we are with the Tejas. I love the aircraft. The engineering is excellent. The made in India AESA radar is actually quite good. The fly-by-wire quadruple redundant is superb, right? The platform is ancient. The weapons carriage is ancient. The range is insufficient. It was built as a MiG-21 replacement. The Pakistanis have now got the J-10, which is not even a fifth generation aircraft, and are acquiring the J-35. So we've not even started. We've not rolled out the prototype of the Tejas Mark II. So therefore, if you're talking about the AMCA...
Even the Mark 1A hasn't been delivered
That's
yet.
right. That's right. So if we are talking about the J-35, right, of the Pakistanis, which is coming around now, then, they've got a big lead. And if you're talking about the AMCA, we don't want the AMCA to be 10 years from now what the Tejas is technology-wise with regard to where we stand vis-a-vis the Chinese and the Pakistanis.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of maximum city is infectious. I'm bringing that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti, also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
India's IT capital is always bustling, a city full of startups, stories and surprises. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
बदलाव की इच्छा रखने वाले लोग उनको ये तय करना है कि वो जनसुराज जैसे नए विकल्प को चुनते हैं कि फिर पिटे पिटाए अपनी पुरानी व्यवस्था में जाना चाहते हैं।
मैं चिराग पासवान पूरी तरीके से बिहार विधानसभा का चुनाव लड़ने के लिए तैयार हूँ तत्पर।
कि जैसे जी मुख्यमंत्री बने हैं,
A very good morning. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Divya Vazwa. We have a whole lot lined up for you, including at 9:30 this morning. We're going to be looking ahead to the Lord's Showdown. It's going to be India versus England series, the most anticipated test after Shubman Gill's glory. Now, will India ace the Lord's litmus test is the question, and counting down to the cricket's blockbuster battle. It's NDTV's Boria Majumdar who's going to get us live updates from the Lord's cricket ground. We'll have all that and a lot more coming up on the show this morning. Let's start with the headlines. Stunning twist in the M&S Gunda Raj Thakre's gag order that has been issued to all his party members. M&S workers have been asked not to interact with the media or to have any sort of reaction put out on any of their social media platforms. And it's the Bihar voter list row that erupted, and Patna bracing for the opposition versus the Election Commission protest. And joining in that Chakka jam is Tejasvi Yadav and Rahul Gandhi, both leading the way as far as Patna's protest is concerned before the elections coming up in the state later this year. And US President Donald Trump reiterates a tariff threat to BRICS nations, saying that they're a threat to his US dollar and anti-American at that. So the BRICS nations will now have to pay 10% tariffs. This also includes India and China. Kerala nurse faces execution on the 16th of this month. Kerala-born nurse Nimisha Priya said to be executed in Yemen on the 16th of July, arrested for murdering a Yemeni man. Actor Alia Bhatt's former staffer, we're talking about Alia Bhatt's former manager, who was a manager from the 2021 till about 2024, has now been arrested. And the reason she's been arrested is because a case was filed by her mother, Soni Rasan, against the manager for forging the actor's sign and siphoning off money worth 77 lakh rupees over 2 years. Breaking news coming in. You're watching NDTV 24/7. Let's get you. A Shiv Sena legislator stoked a fresh row after allegedly assaulting a canteen staff member at the MLA guest house in Mumbai. We're talking about Sanjay Gaikwad, who has alleged there was poor quality food that was served at the time, and which is why he went ahead and assaulted people there. This is you can see of the assault taking place, of him literally slapping and thrashing this person at literally punching the man as well, after he's claimed to have consumed the dal and he experienced some sort of cramps in his stomach and some sort of uneasiness, following which the MLA created that ruckus in the canteen and severely scolded the canteen operator. This comes in just days after the M&S workers assaulted a Meera Road shopkeeper for refusing to speak Marathi, triggering that major political slugfest. And we have Anuj joining us. Anuj, Sanjay Gaikwad, seems to be very unhappy with the quality of food that was served to him, but he really decided to thrash the man who was serving him that food. I mean, the visuals are speaking louder than words. He's being punched, he's being slapped, he's being assaulted, and there are others just looking on, no one coming to his rescue, nobody intervening in the matter. I mean, it's the rainy season. Food can get bad very, very fast and very quickly. Some food doesn't really agree with some people. How can this man, this Shiv Sena MLA there, take matters into his own hands, that we can see Sanjay Gaikwad there assaulting this person? Where did this really take place? Get us all the details.
The monsoon assembly session is going on right now, and a lot of MLAs who have come from outside of Mumbai are staying put in Akashvani MLA hostel, where we have the Akashvani MLA canteen, and in the room number 107, where Sanjay Gaikwad, Shinde Sena MLA from Buldana, was staying. He ordered food which included dal and some other sabzis and roti as well, but when he got that food, he said that the dal was it was smelly, and a few of his friends, few of his associates even consumed the dal, and it ended up troubling them a bit, is what he states. He said that it created uneasiness and some people even felt sick. Then one can see in this video, while as soon as that happened, he again in a partially naked clothing, he walks down, he approaches the canteen manager, tries to create an atmosphere of terror right there, and he specifically asks for the person who has created the dal, right? So he doesn't want to entertain conversation with the canteen caretaker for longer. He wants to talk to the person who is responsible for cooking things. We have to understand, these are the people who are really lower in the hierarchy as far as this entire structure in such places is concerned. And before the person could explain himself or give a clarification on whether it was actually smelly or was there some other issue, Sanjay Gaikwad and Shinde Sena MLA from Buldana launches a punch. He slaps him, and following that, he goes on to check on whether the dal which is served on other tables right there, if that is doing fine. And meanwhile, what is missing out in this video, but if you hear to it closely, one can understand that while the MLA is checking the dal on other tables, the poor man is getting bashed by other associates of Shinde Sena MLA as well. As you said earlier, this adds on to the acts of people in position, people in power in Maharashtra, and this time it's even more serious because it's a member of Legislative Assembly exercising violence on someone who was supposed to serve food. But as you said earlier, the possibility of dal or any food item kind of going a little haywire is not too vague, especially in this time of the year. But how much of these actions are justified? So far, we haven't heard anything from the MLA. From what we understand, this happened last night. We are yet to hear from either Shinde Sena or MLA Sanjay Gaikwad as of now.
Right. Anuj, you pointed out, that he wasn't even wearing his shirt at the time. And this really is reminding of the assault that took place, in regard to the MNS worker's son, Rahil, who also, rammed his car into another car. And, the way he was also abusing that woman on the streets of Maharashtra. Well, also, let's just get you Mumbai that's reeling as MNS workers unleash chaos. A leader's son caught drunk and abusive on video. He remains free, sparking outrage. The police stand accused of bowing to political pressure as Defiant MLA and Eknath Shinde face a tough choice, and that is to court the Marathi vote or to uphold the rule of the law. My colleague Radhika Ramaswamy joining us, as well as Anuj joining us as well. Radhika, over to you first in regard to the kind of dilemma we're seeing as far as the Defiant MLA government is concerned. What kind of action is being taken? And we are seeing, we just saw another incident that has been caught on camera, and this time around that incident was from the Eknath Shinde faction of the Shiv Sena.
As far as this entire MLA bashing incident is concerned of the canteen, we'll have to see what action will be taken by the political leadership at this point. Certainly high-handedness and hooliganism coming from political leadership there. But largely speaking about action against MNS goons, we know for a fact that multiple FIRs had been registered against not just Rahil Sheikh, but all those who resort to violence over the last few days. Despite FIRs, the charges were lenient, which is why most of these people were taken into custody but immediately released, which is what has become very controversial. The fact that none of them have been arrested, none of them were produced before the court, is something that everybody is pointing at, for which the state government says, more action will be taken, further action will be taken if necessary. But state government is certainly in a fix. While they're condemning violence in the name of language, they're also standing for Marathi pride. Shiv Sena, Eknath Shinde faction particularly are in a bit of a fix. They are on one hand supporting MNS in their cause. On the other hand, they are not for or favoring the violence. Certainly, state government is in a bit of a fix. But as far as the opposition parties are concerned, they are fully rallying behind MNS at this point, which is why some of them were also part of those counter-protests launched by MNS as well. And Raj Thackeray, of course, coming out with that the statement yesterday asking his party workers to not go out and speak before the media, because they've been receiving a lot of criticism and flack over the last few days, especially statements where they have supported violence and taking law and order into their hands. But as far as police action is concerned, very, very weak and lenient action against many of these perpetrators. Remains to be seen any further action will be taken as promised and assured by Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis.
Right, Radhika, also, another incident that has surfaced, and a video that's doing the rounds is of Sanjay Gaikwad, taking matters into his own hands. And we can see him thrashing, literally punching and slapping around this canteen worker just because the dal that he was served was smelly. And, there we can see, so this is not even the MNS worker. We're talking about the Shinde faction of the Shiv Sena taking matters into their own hands. And this is a poor person running that canteen, and there, this MLA of the Shiv Sena there attacking, literally assaulting the man, and of course bringing to mind what really happened at that sweet shop where the MNS workers assaulted that poor man as well.
That's right. As far as this entire incident is concerned, this is a Shinde faction MLA who went ahead and assaulted a canteen worker. This happened in Churchgate area. This is a state-run canteen whereby this man did not perhaps get the food that he wanted, which is why he went ahead and assaulted a canteen staff. Once again, VIP behavior, hooliganism there from the side of political leadership. Now, we'll really have to see whether any FIR will be registered and whether this man will be behind bars, because in the previous instances of hooliganism by political leadership, or for that party, anybody from any of the political parties, no strict action has been taken. It's just an FIR that is registered with lenient sections of assault and criminal intimidation. And besides that, nothing much. They are hardly arrested or produced before the court. Perhaps something similar will happen in the case of Mr. Gaikwad as well. But certainly this has not gone down well with people, which is why this is gone viral. We'll have to see whether any sort of disciplinary action will be taken by Shinde Sena.
Right, Radhika, let's get in Anuj as well. Anuj back with us. Anuj, take us through. The government, of course, has been voicing their concerns when it comes to lawlessness in the state and saying that law and order is going to be restored, whether it comes to MNS workers taking matters into their own hands. But here we have someone from their own taking matters into their own hands. What kind of reaction is coming about to this particular video?
Well, the video has just been out for half an hour, and we'll still have to, wait for the reaction. Of course, we're heading towards the Vidhan Bhavan, where all the MLAs will be, will be attending the day's session. And of course, we're expecting more reactions to come that way. But it is important to understand a bit of history of Sanjay Gaikwad. He's someone who's been in the middle of controversies, for quite some time. Of course, this being the latest one. We've also heard about how, some of his controversial statements about his colleagues, about people, about historical figures here in the state, have also sparked a row in this state. And he is not particularly someone who's considered to be, very articulate, especially with the way he puts up his things. And that is why he's been in the center of all the controversies. But as you said earlier, this time things change for the government a little bit. We've seen how, both, and especially the Bharatiya Janata Party, has gone on record to talk about how violence of any which way, in any which form, is completely wrong and will be acted out against. While he was speaking or addressing the MNS Mera Bhainder issue is when he said this. We also had Ashish Shela talk about how beating up people, highlighting how beating up especially the North Indian people is something that the BJP government wouldn't take lightly. It'll be interesting to see whether they follow a similar kind of a pattern in this case as well, because again, important to understand that the equation between the alliance partners, although they might be they might be an alliance at the broader level, but it isn't as smooth as as it should have been in an ideal situation. We saw what happened with Pratap Sarnaik yesterday, where he took a different stance. Pratap Sarnaik, who was a Shinde Sena minister, one of the most senior ministers here in the cabinet, took a different stance from the Maharashtra government altogether. In a way, defied the chief minister, who had called for a police action, went to go. He was on his way to be a part of the protest later on, and was shooed away by the protesters. But that's a different thing altogether. So things haven't been great between Shinde Sena and BJP at the top level as well. So that puts, or that makes this entire scenario more interesting on whether BJP will show any sort of a promptness while taking action against their own alliance MLA, especially because a video is out and one can see in the video that Sanjay Gaikwad wasn't unaware that the video has been shot. In fact, he's very much aware of the fact that the camera is right in front of him, and that perhaps might have elevated the way he acted out in that situation. But of course, all of those things will be looked into much detail later on. As of now, all eyes are on whether any representative of the government, number one, or of Shinde Sena comes out in open to speak against this, and we'll be awaiting on what action will be initiated by the government against their own MLA.
Anuj, of course, the kind of action that they need to take, whether it's any kind of violence, and particularly, fueling, as far as the situation on the ground is concerned, one video after the other that has been surfacing, this really is bringing to mind what really took place as far as the MNS worker's son is concerned, taking matters into his own hands and, literally hurling abuses at that poor woman, Rajshri, and that was a video that came in last. But before that, the shopkeeper who was assaulted by the MNS workers as well. What kind of action can Devinder Fadnavis take in this particular regard? Whether, setting an example by taking action against their own as far as the Eknath Shinde faction of the Shiv Sena is concerned. And also when it comes to MNS workers, because no action has been taken in that regard as well, Anuj.
When you talk about this particular instance, we've been covering VIP hooliganism for over a week now, and this act of violence is a bigger example of VIP hooliganism as compared to what was the case with MNS workers, because at the end of the day, there were no party position holders who were involved in violence. They were getting endorsed by the party leaders, but they weren't directly involved in the violence that was perpetrated in Mera Bhainder, or even when we look at what happened in Andheri, where a brat son of the vice president of the state unit of the Maharashtra Navnirman Sena, again there as well MNS disowned the person, saying that he does not hold any position. As against that, in this case, it is very much a part of not just the party but also the government. Someone, as I stated earlier, has been in the middle of multiple controversies in recent times, which is why we can expect the opposition to gherao this entire matter, as they've been doing, for last few days over the other matters. And as far as action against this individual is concerned, we will have to wait and watch out for what exactly the action, because earlier where there have been cases of MLA intimidation, not in Mumbai but in other parts of the state, we've seen stern warnings being given, closed door meetings, when we had Nitesh Rane go on record giving very volatile statements, very communal statements as alleged by the opposition parties. That is when, that was the last time when Devendra Fadnavis had to intervene, and from what we know, he held a backdoor meeting with his minister and tried to clarify that matter. But there was no stern action, that was seen beyond the backdoor meetings or beyond what we read in the government papers. So will that be carried on here as well? And how much of the onus of the action is actually on as well, considering that he is one of the topmost ministers, probably the second most important minister after Devendra Fadnavis in this entire cabinet, and Sanjay Gaikwad is considered to be a very close associate of Eknath Shinde as well. So, to what level do the different alliance partners in the Mahayuti show their endorsement or, show their stance against this MLA will become an interesting point for us to follow for the rest of the day.
Right, of course, let's just get in Radhika as well. Radhika, a lukewarm response is what the government has been, providing to the people in regard to, like Anuj was pointing out, this is not the first video. 3 videos we've shown in a matter of the last 3 days. And then, there are more such incidents that keep getting reported in the state of Maharashtra. Where is the buck really going to stop, and what kind of action needs to be taken in this regard is the question here.
Absolutely. Many such incidents of VIP hooliganism being reported from the state of Maharashtra, particularly from Mumbai, not just of the MNS but also of Shinde Sena as well, the Sanjay Gaikwad going ahead and assaulting that poor canteen worker. And if you see in many of these videos, it's the poor and the helpless who are getting targeted by many of these VIPs. Well, at this point, strong reactions from the part of, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, or for that matter, Eknath Shinde. But looks like, they're just assuring and promising action. But nothing really seems to be happening on the ground in terms of police action. Some weak sections are added, and then all of these VIPs are released, which means, they're bothered about political connections and equations just ahead of BMC elections. They do not want to ruffle any feathers. Therefore, many of these political parties are being very, very cautious at this point, and that's what we are seeing on the ground. The fact that, while they want to condemn many of these incidents, they continue to condemn many of these incidents, no real action, no police arrest, no disciplinary action, no suspension or dismissal of any of these workers are happening from these political parties. So we'll really have to see with the campaign that we have launched against thuggery, not just of the MNS, but against political leadership, any sort of concrete action will be taken on the ground. That will certainly be our demand.
Right, and the timing of all of this is coming to light, of course, with the BMC elections coming up in the state. And how is this really going to impact, or is it going to have very little impact whatsoever?
Ahead of BMC elections, there are all kinds of political churns that we can expect in the days to come. MNS is important here because they have the power to really garner Marathi votes, which is why UBT Sena is with the MNS at this point. We saw that gathering
right,
there.
Radhika, hold that thought. We actually spoke with Sanjay Gaikwad. Let's listen into what he had to say.
तो वो बासा नहीं था, वो सड़वा था. कितना गंदा, उतनी
मारते हुए नजर आ रहे. पूरा मुद्दा क्या था? क्या आपको वो दाल परोसी गई जिसमें खराब दाल बताई जा रही है? क्या तकलीफ हुई?
उन्हें दाल परोसी नहीं गई थी. मैंने मेरे रूम में जो मेरा रूटीन टाइम होता है 10 बजे का, ऑलरेडी मैं कभी भी बाहर खाना नहीं खाता हूँ, ना गांव में खाता हूँ ना इधर खाता हूँ. तो मैंने खाना पार्सल मंगाया जिसमें मैंने दाल चावल और 2 चपाती मंगाया था. सादा खाना मैंने मंगाया था और मैं एक दाल चावल का निवाला मैंने डाला तो मुझे बहुत गंदा लगा. सो मैं लगा कुछ मुंह में आया होगा. सेकंड खाया तो मुझे उल्टी हो गई और इतना भयानक फील होने लगा. तो फिर मैंने जैसा मैं जो कपड़े पे था वही कपड़े में कैंटीन में गया और वो जिन लोगों ने मुझे ये सब दिया था उनको पूछा कि आपने दिया है? तो बोले हाँ दिया है. तो मैंने बोला आप स्मेल लीजिए इसका. उन्होंने स्मेल लिया तो बोले बहुत ख़राब है. बाद में फिर मैंने मैनेजर को बुलाया, उसको मैंने स्मेल दिया। उनके 6 कर्मचारियों को स्मेल देने के बाद में उन्होंने बताया कि ये खाने जैसा नहीं है, यानी वो निष्कृष्ट दर्जे का नहीं था, वो सड़ा हुआ खाना था। और फिर मैंने उन लोगों को 2-4 साल में जितनी बार भी उनको मैंने समझाया कि आप मुझे खाना अच्छा दिया करो, ये ख़राब खाना मत दिया करो। इनका मटन 15-15 दिन पहले का रहता, इनका चिकन 15 दिन का रहता, इनके अंडे अंदर से पूरे काले हुए रहते। मैं किसान हूँ, मैं सब्जी और सब के बारे में मैं आधे घंटे के हिसाब से बताता हूँ कि सब्जी का खाना कब बनाया गया है। तो यहाँ महाराष्ट्र में से आए हुए हर दिन सेशन में 10,000 लोगों के जान से ये लोग खिलवाड़ करते हैं, आमदार के जान से खिलवाड़ करते हैं, महाराष्ट्र से आने वाले किसानों की जान से ये लोग खेलते हैं। और इनकी मुजरी इतनी है, कोई कंप्लेंट करे तो उसका ये सुनते भी नहीं है। और कई लोगों ने मुझे बताया कि हमारे खाने में ये दिया, कोई सुतली आई, कोई चिपकी ले आई, कोई कुछ गंदा आया। और 200-400 कंप्लेंट होने के बाद भी आज ये जो कंत्राटदार है 30 साल से यहाँ पे कुंडली मार के बैठा है।
आप एक विधायक है, वो भी रूलिंग पार्टी के विधायक है, इस तरीके से हाथ उठाना कितना जायज़ लगता है आपको?
मैं विधायक भी हूँ और मैं योद्धा भी हूँ। जब सब भाषा में समझाने के बाद में कोई समझता नहीं है तो बाला साहब ठाकरे जी ने हमको भाषा सिखाई भी है, जिसका इस्तेमाल मैंने किया है।
वो वीडियो में खास तौर से दिख रहा है आपने घूसों का भी उपयोग किया, झापट का भी उपयोग किया, लात भी मारने की कोशिश की। ऐसे में सर कंप्लेन कर सकते हैं आप?
मैंने कंप्लेंट किया, 4 बार किया, इसलिए मेरी जान मतलब मेरी सटक गई। मैं जूडो चैंपियन हूँ, मैं जिम्नास्टिक चैंपियन हूँ, मैं कराटे चैंपियन हूँ, मैं कुश्ती चैंपियन हूँ, तलवारबाजी, दांडपट्टा, कुश्ती का सब मैं चैंपियन हूँ, इसलिए मैं कुछ भी यूज़ कर सकता हूँ।
लेकिन सर आप विधायक हैं, आपको लोग देखते हैं, आपसे लोग इंस्पायर होते हैं। ऐसे अगर आप देखें इस तरीके के कृत्य करेंगे तो लोग भी प्रवुक्त हो जाएंगे, कहीं वहाँ भी हिंसा होगी, क्योंकि एक तरीका होता है सर।
जब प्रशासन काम करता नहीं है, बार बार कंप्लेंट करने के बाद भी, तो जनता क्या करेगी? वो तो कायदा हाथ में लेगी ना। अब एक आमदार कंप्लेंट करता है और उसके अगर कोई दखल लेता नहीं है, उसमें अगर कार्रवाई करता नहीं है, तो ये आमदार क्या करेगा? खुद की जान देगा? बार बार बोलेगा नहीं अभी इतना तुमने सड़ा हुआ दिया, कल कीड़े पड़े हुआ खाना हमको खिला, ऐसा बोलेगा आमदार? मैं इतना गांधीवादी नहीं हूँ मैं।
नहीं, लेकिन जिस तरीके से विवाद चल रहा है मराठी बनाम हिंदी का, ऐसे में इस तरीके की हिंसा करना कितना जायज़ लगता है सर?
ये मैं नीचे गया तो उनके माथे पे कोई जात लिखी हुई नहीं थी, क्या प्रांत लिखा हुआ नहीं था कि वे कौन से जात के, कौन से प्रांत के, या वो जो खाना खिला रहे वो कौन से जाति को खिला रहे, वो खाने पे लिखा होता है क्या?
लेकिन सर आखिरकार जिस तरीके से वीडियो वायरल हुआ है, प्रश्न उपस्थित हो रहे हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं एक विधायक होने के नाते एक मॉरल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है। आपको थोड़ा भी मलाल है कि इस तरीके से नहीं होता? या
कोई मलाल नहीं है, मुझे कोई मलाल नहीं है, मुझे कोई ये विषय में ऐसा महसूस नहीं होता है कि मैंने कोई गलत किया है।
अच्छा, इसकी आप कहाँ इसको उठाएंगे, क्योंकि ये बहुत गंभीर विषय भी है?
अभी हम विधानसभा में अध्यक्ष महोदय जी से पॉइंट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन में बात रखने का प्रयास करेंगे। कनेक्टिंग मिनिस्टर जो है हमारे भुजबल साहब, उनको भी हम बताएंगे और फूड एंड ड्रग्स को भी हम कंप्लीट करने का।
सेना स्टाइल की जो आपने बात की है वो हमने देखा, लेकिन इस समय जो वातावरण है पूरे महाराष्ट्र में, खास करके मुंबई में, वो स्टाइल मनसे और उभाटागढ़ भी करते हुए नजर आ रहा है सड़कों पर। कैसे देखते हो उसे?
तो उनके बारे में मैं कुछ बोलना नहीं चाहूँगा, वो ये जो महाराष्ट्र में चल रहा है ये महाराष्ट्र की हित का नहीं है।
धन्यवाद। तो ये हमारे साथ थे संजय गायकवाड़ जी, जो साफ तौर पे कह रहे हैं भले ही मैं विधायक हूँ, लेकिन बार बार अगर मेरी कंप्लेन को नज़रअंदाज किया जाएगा तो मैं इसी तरीके से फिर एक बार उस कैंटीन मैनेजर को मारूंगा। और ये शिवसेना स्टाइल है, मैं गांधीवादी मैं बिलीव नहीं करता, मैं उनको सबक जरूर सिखाऊंगा। हालांकि उन्होंने कहा कि इसका मुद्दा विधानसभा में वो जरूर उठाएंगे। कैमरामैन प्रवीण जी रोहित के साथ अभिषेक अवस्थी, NDTV इंडिया, मुंबई।
Right, Paras getting us the interview of Sanjay Gaikwad there, reacting to what he has done. The video playing on your screen of him thrashing, literally punching and slapping and assaulting this worker at the canteen because of the dal that he was served. And now he's extremely unapologetic. In fact, he's gone on to say he knows judo, he knows karate, and he's taking matters into his own hands. He's saying that he was served food that he didn't like, and which is why he decided to assault this man. And of course, when my colleague Paras was asking him as to, the kind of example that he's setting, by doing such things, he's saying that, he would do this again if the need be. Listen in to what he had to say.
हमारे साथ संजय गायकवाड़ जी है। पहली बात तो जो वीडियो वायरल हो रहा है सर, उसमें आप कैंटीन मैनेजर को मारते हुए नज़र आ रहे। पूरा मुद्दा क्या था? क्या आपको वो दाल परोसी गई जिसमें खराब दाल बताई जा रही है, क्या तकलीफ हुई?
उन्हें दाल परोसी नहीं गई थी। मैंने मेरे रूम में जो मेरा रूटीन टाइम होता है 10 बजे का, ऑलरेडी मैं कभी भी बाहर खाना नहीं खाता हूँ, ना गांव में खाता हूँ ना इधर खाता हूँ। तो मैंने खाना पार्सल मंगाया जिसमें मैंने दाल चावल और 2 चपाती मंगाया था। सादा खाना मैंने मंगाया था और मैं एक दाल चावल का निवाला मैंने डाला तो मुझे बहुत गंदा लगा। सो मैं लगा कुछ मुँह में आया होगा। सेकंड खाया तो मुझे उल्टी हो गई और इतना भयानक फील होने लगा। तो फिर मैंने जैसा मैं जो कपड़े पे था वही कपड़े में कैंटीन में गया और वो जिन लोगों ने मुझे ये सब दिया था उनको पूछा कि आपने दिया है? तो बोले हाँ दिया है। तो मैंने बोला आप स्मेल लीजिए इसका। उन्होंने स्मेल लिया तो बोले बहुत ख़राब है। बाद में फिर मैंने मैनेजर को बुलाया, उसको मैंने स्मेल दिया। उनके 6 कर्मचारी को स्मेल देने के बाद में उन्होंने बताया कि ये खाने जैसा नहीं है, यानी वो निष्कृष्ट दर्जे का नहीं था, वो सड़ा हुआ खाना था। और फिर मैंने उन लोगों को 2-4 साल में जितनी बार भी उनको मैंने समझाया कि आप मुझे खाना अच्छा दिया करो, ये ख़राब खाना मत दिया करो। इनका मटन 15-15 दिन पहले का रहता, इनका चिकन 15 दिन का रहता, इनके अंडे अंदर से पूरे काले हुए रहते। मैं किसान हूँ, मैं सब्जी और सब के बारे में मैं आधे घंटे के हिसाब से बताता हूँ कि सब्जी का खाना कब बनाया गया है। तो यहाँ महाराष्ट्र में से आए हुए हर दिन सेशन में 10,000 लोगों के जान से ये लोग खिलवाड़ करते हैं, आमदार के जान से खिलवाड़ करते हैं, महाराष्ट्र से आने वाले किसानों की जान से ये लोग खेलते हैं। और इनकी मुजरी इतनी है, कोई कंप्लेंट करे तो उसका ये सुनते भी नहीं है। और कई लोगों ने मुझे बताया कि हमारे खाने में ये दिया, कोई सुतली आई, कई चिपकी ले आई, कहीं कुछ गंदा आया। और 200-400 कंप्लेंट होने के बाद भी आज ये जो कंत्राटदार है 30 साल से यहाँ पे कुंडली मार के बैठा है।
आप एक विधायक है, वो भी रूलिंग पार्टी के विधायक है, इस तरीके से हाथ उठाना कितना जायज़ लगता है आपको?
मैं विधायक भी हूँ और मैं योद्धा भी हूँ। जब सब भाषा में समझाने के बाद में कोई समझता नहीं है तो बाबा साहब ठाकरे जी ने हमको भाषा सिखाई भी है, जिसका इस्तेमाल मैंने किया है।
वो वीडियो में खास तौर से दिख रहा है आपने घूसों का भी उपयोग किया, झापट का भी उपयोग किया, लात भी मारने की कोशिश की। ऐसे में सर कंप्लेन कर सकते हैं आप?
मैंने कंप्लेंट किया, 4 बार किया, इसलिए मेरी जान मतलब मेरी सटक गई। मैं जूडो चैंपियन हूँ, मैं जिम्नास्टिक चैंपियन हूँ, मैं कराटे चैंपियन हूँ, मैं कुश्ती चैंपियन हूँ, तलवारबाजी, दांड पट्टा, कुश्ती का सब मैं चैंपियन हूँ। इसलिए मैं कुछ भी यूज़ कर सकता हूँ।
सर आप विधायक हैं, आपको लोग देखते हैं, आपसे लोग इंस्पायर होते हैं। ऐसे अगर आप देखें इस तरीके के कृत्य करेंगे तो लोग भी प्रवुक्त हो जाएंगे, कहीं वहाँ भी हिंसा होगी, क्योंकि एक तरीका होता है सर।
जब प्रशासन काम करता नहीं है, बार बार कंप्लेंट करने के बाद भी, तो जनता क्या करेगी? वो तो कायदा हाथ में लेगी ना। अब एक आमदार कंप्लेंट करता है और उसके अगर कोई दखल लेता नहीं है, उसमें कोई कार्रवाई करता नहीं है, तो ये एक आमदार क्या करेगा? खुद की जान देगा? बार बार बोलेगा नहीं अभी इतना तुमने सड़ा हुआ दिया, कल कीड़े पड़े हुआ खाना हमको खिला, ऐसा बोलेगा आमदार? मैं इतना गांधीवादी नहीं हूँ मैं।
लेकिन जिस तरीके से विवाद चल रहा है मराठी बनाम हिंदी का, ऐसे में इस तरीके की हिंसा करना कितना जायज़ लगता है सर?
ये मैं नीचे गया तो उनके माथे पे कोई जात लिखी नहीं थी, क्या प्रांत लिखा हुआ नहीं था? ये कौन से जात के कौन से प्रांत के, या वो जो खाना खिला रहे वो कौन से जाति को खिला रहे, वो खाने पे लिखा होता है क्या?
आखिरकार इस तरीके से वीडियो वायरल हुआ है, प्रश्न उपस्थित हो रहे हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं एक विधायक होने के नाते एक मॉरल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है। आपको थोड़ा भी मलाल है कि इस तरीके से नहीं होता? या
कोई मलाल नहीं है, मुझे कोई मलाल नहीं है। मुझे कोई ये विषय में ऐसा महसूस नहीं होता है कि मैंने कोई गलत किया है।
अच्छा, इसकी आप कहाँ इसको उठाएंगे, क्योंकि ये बहुत गंभीर विषय भी है।
अभी हम विधानसभा में अध्यक्ष महोदय जी से पॉइंट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन में बात रखने का प्रयास करेंगे। कनेक्टिंग मिनिस्टर जो है हमारे भुजबल साहब, उनको भी हम बताएंगे और फूड एंड ड्रग्स को भी हम कंप्लीट करने का
सेना स्टाइल की जो आपने बात की है वो हमने देखा, लेकिन इस समय जो वातावरण है पूरे महाराष्ट्र में, खास करके मुंबई में, वो स्टाइल मनसे और उबाटागढ़ भी करते हुए नजर आ रहा है सड़कों पर। कैसे देखते हो उसे?
उनके बारे में मैं कुछ बोलना नहीं चाहूँगा। वो ये जो महाराष्ट्र में चल रहा है ये महाराष्ट्र के हित का नहीं है।
धन्यवाद। तो ये हमारे साथ थे संजय गायकवाड़ जी, जो साफ तौर पे कह रहे हैं भले ही मैं
Sanjay Gaikwad there speaking to Abhishek Awasthi of NDTV, being defiant, saying that he knows judo, he knows karate, and that he knows kushti, and that he can use any form in order to defend himself in this matter. He said that he's complained time and again, but that the food that he was being served was not up to the mark, and which is why he decided to take matters into his own hands. And he, of course, there you can see the poor man being thrashed, being assaulted, literally being punched by the MLA. We're talking about the Ek Nachinde faction of the Sena MLA, Sanjay Gaikwad. That video that's gone completely viral. We have Radhika joining us from Mumbai. Radhika, of course, Sanjay Gaikwad there defending his stand, but being very defiant at the same time, without any sort of remorse, saying that he has, no sort of remorse. He doesn't regret what's happened, what's transpired, but in fact being extremely brazen about the issue.
Absolutely, extremely brazen, defiant, no apology, no regret, no remorse. That's what we are seeing. Sanjay Gaikwad there speaking to Abhishek Awasthi, saying that the reason that he had to take law into his hands and had to assault this employee was because the food is stale, and he's complained multiple times in the past, and they do not really improve the quality of food, which is why he was forced to do this. Extremely, disappointing that a statement of this nature is coming from MLA Shiv Sena MLA there, speaking about how he is not going to regret or apologize for what he did, and that he knows karate, he knows other martial arts, and therefore, if they do not listen to him, if they do not improve the quality of food despite complaints, then he will be forced to assault, and he was forced to assault, which is what he did. So certainly we'll have to see how this pans out, Divya. Today, of course, the assembly session is ongoing. Gaikwad says that he is going to bring up this issue of bad food in the MLA canteen before the assembly session. But certainly, this video has gone viral. So some sort of disciplinary action could be expected, but will an FIR be registered? What kind of action could be taken against this MLA? That remains to be seen. He's close to, Eknath Shinde. He represents Buldana. He calls himself a farmer. And he's given a multiple reasoning for this act by him. But certainly this is once again VIP hooliganism at its best, something we've been witness to over the last few days, be it the MNS, be it UBT Sena, and now Shinde Sena MLA also going ahead and beating up a poor canteen worker for stale food instead of complaining, instead of speaking politely and making people understand about the quality of food. He goes ahead and beats them up. So we'll really have to see how this will pan out in that particular reaction. Pretty brazen, pretty shocking, and the audacity is something that is coming forward, that he doesn't want to apologize, he doesn't regret what has happened, and he says that he's frustrated as the food has always been stale and they're playing with the lives of these leaders. So certainly hooliganism at its best, thuggery at its best, and they are no different from MNS violence that we've been seeing unleashed in the city of Mumbai and otherwise over the last few days. So we'll really have to see whether some sort of action will be taken against this man and whether finally some arrest will happen. But that is something that's unlikely at this point.
Right, of course, Radhika, incidentally, this incident is being reported. It took place at the state-run guest house where several legislators are staying during the monsoon session of the Maharashtra Assembly. Let's just get the UBT Sena's reaction on this assault that's taken place by the MLA from the Eknath Shinde faction.
लेकिन समान अधिकार नहीं देती। ठीक है, हमारी सीटें एक दो कम हैं, हम संवैधानिक प्रक्रिया में फिट नहीं बैठ रहे हैं, लेकिन क्या आप उदारता नहीं दिखा सकते? क्या आप महानता नहीं दिखा सकते? आप कहते हो ना सबका साथ सबका विकास, कहां है महाराष्ट्र को विरोधी पक्ष नेता? महाराष्ट्र के करोड़ों करोड़ों लोग जिन्होंने आपको मतदान नहीं किया है, उनका नेतृत्व करने वाला विरोधी पक्ष नेता ही महाराष्ट्र में नहीं है। और भी डॉक्टर भूषण गवई जी के उपस्थित रहने के बाद भी तो हम यही कहेंगे, देवेंद्र फडणवीस जी और राहुल नार्वेकर जी, जरा सा भी गरिमा बची है तो आज का आज महाराष्ट्र को विरोधी पक्ष नेता दीजिए। ठीक है, हम लड़ लेंगे सड़क से।
Let's just get back to this video where, of course, eyewitnesses have accounted and have also suggested that the confrontation between the canteen staff and the Shiv Sena MLA escalated very quickly, leading to that physical assault, that physical violence where you can see on your screens of the man slapping and also punching. Well, after all this has come to light, Sanjay Gaikwad has gone on to say he knows judo, karate, he's also knows wrestling, he knows kushti, is what he's gone on to claim, and which is why he said he's taken matters into his own hands. The incident comes amid the ongoing political friction between the MNS and the Mahayuti government, led by the BJP over MNS's the aggressive campaign promoting the use of Marathi among the residents of the state. Radhika with us as well. Radhika, this really comes at the heels of multiple incidents, multiple videos that we have been showing on NDTV, highlighting the situation on the ground when it comes to the state of Maharashtra, whether it's the language imposition or whether it is just taking matters into your own hands. Let's listen into how the UBT faction is reacting. We just have that with you in a bit. Radhika with us as well. Radhika, you know, this the visuals on our screen of the way Sanjay Gaikwad has thrashed this man, and then, you know, in his defense, he's saying he knows how to beat up people, and that is why he will beat up people, is what he just, you know, spoke to our colleague Abhishek Awasthi, saying that he knows judo, he knows karate, and because he had repeatedly complained about the food. I mean, we don't know if we can really verify that he has complained in the past. Was it a one-off incident where he decided to thrash the poor man?
Absolutely, this is definitely abuse of power coming from the side of Gaikwad. The fact that he went ahead and slapped and bashed this poor canteen worker up is absolutely unacceptable. The fact that he is an MLA, he is a legislator, he represents Buldana constituency, an important constituency. He's supposed to be, upholding the law and order of the country. Instead, he's going ahead and bashing people. So we'll have to see what kind of action will be taken against by the leadership against this man. We know that over the last few days, be it the MNS, be it UBT, Sena, or any other political leadership taking law into their hands, Devendra Fadnavis has given strong statement. He has said that we are not we are not for people taking law and order into their hands, irrespective of which constituency they represent or irrespective of what political allegiance that person has. And action will be taken as the assurance that has been given. And this time, Sanjay Gaikwad is from the state government. He's from Shinde Sena, which is an alliance with the BJP. So we'll really have to watch out for what Devendra Fadnavis will say today, what Eknath Shinde will say, because they have been condemning MNS violence over the last few days. They have in fact been speaking about how people are standing for Marathi pride with reference to what MNS has been doing. However, taking law into their hands and resorting to violence is something that's unacceptable from the side of the state government, is something that has been made very, very clear by the state government, by Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, and which is why further action will be given, is a promise that was given by Chief Minister at the time. But in this case, Sanjay Gaikwad, being a member of Shinde Sena, being an MLA of Shinde Sena, part of the government, what action will be taken? Will a disciplinary action be taken? Will an official statement come out from the side of the government, from the side of Eknath Shinde particularly? Will an FIR be registered? Will there be a call for an arrest? All that remains to be seen, but the video has gone viral and there is a lot of flack that this MLA has been receiving for what he has done. And in that particular video, he has not even apologized. He has shown no remorse, no regret whatsoever. And he is, obviously, this is, VIP hooliganism at play. And, we'll really have to see how this will pan out as the assembly session starts today.
Right, Radhika, this is, of course, the Maharashtra ruling party MLA, and is Eknath Shinde watching is the big question, and what kind of action will be taken against the man? Because, we've only seen lukewarm responses in the past as well. These lukewarm responses, whether it comes to MNS workers, the two incidents that came to light of, a shirtless man who rammed his car into that social media influencer's car and then was hurling abuses at her, in fact, remained unapologetic as well. And then, of course, the MNS workers who thrashed that poor man at that sweet shop in the Thane district. And here we have this man, he's gone on to say that he came down the way he was while he was eating his food because it was stale, it was stinking. And then he comes down, and very soon after it wasn't a verbal, conversation that led to something going out of hand. It's like he came down with the motive that today I am going to thrash this man and, set an example of the kind of food that needs to be served to this MLA. Really at a time, Radhika, that we're seeing many such incidents coming to light. Many more incidents have been reported, but nothing really has been done so far.
Nothing really has been done so far. What is unfortunate is that violence is being normalized by the political leadership, and they are really targeting the poor, the weak, the helpless people, a canteen worker, a shopkeeper, a clerk in a bank. These are people who do not have, unfortunately, have a strong voice or any sort of political support or allegiance or alliance of any of that kind. You know, they've just come here to do their work, and these are the people who are targeted by these thugs who call themselves leaders or representatives of a constituency or of citizens of the state of Maharashtra. It's very, very unfortunate that, and these leaders are getting away. Of course, we will continue this campaign whereby this VIP thuggery should not be allowed, and that these people must get arrested. So that's, of course, something that we will be fighting for at this point. But, we just heard Abhishek's conversation with Mr. Gaikwad, in which he has shown absolutely no regret. He continues to say that they've been serving stale food for a long time. I have made multiple complaints in the past. It continues. Therefore, I had no choice but to take law into my hands and beat people up. And I am well versed in karate and other martial arts, and I will continue to do so if this happens. And I have absolutely no regrets. These are the words coming from him, and it's absolutely, shocking that an MLA resorts to violence and then really supports it and has absolutely no regret. But will an action be taken? Because we've seen will any sort of action be taken? We've seen in the last few weeks the VIP thuggery that we've been showing time and again on our television screens of MNS thuggery in the name of language, a poor woman being abused on the road, her car being rammed by an individual, and then all kinds of altercation that happened there. A shopkeeper in Meera Bhayandar being slapped because he did not know Marathi, and in this case, a canteen worker being assaulted because stale food was served to the MLA. So this is the heights of VIP thuggery that we are seeing over the last few days, and this has to stop. Hopefully, there will be some sort of statement from the state government and severe action against all of these people, including Mr. Gaikwad.
Radhika, let's listen in to Sanjay Gaikwad there justifying that act. Listen in.
अंदर एक
पहली बात तो जो वीडियो वायरल हो रहा है सर, उसमें आप कैंटीन मैनेजर को मारते हुए नजर आ रहे। पूरा मुद्दा क्या था? क्या आपको वो दाल परोसी गई जिसमें ख़राब दाल बताई जा रही है? क्या तकलीफ हुई?
उन्हें दाल परोसी नहीं गई थी। मैंने मेरे रूम में जो मेरा रूटीन टाइम होता है 10 बजे का, ऑलरेडी मैं कभी भी बाहर खाना नहीं खाता हूँ, ना गांव में खाता हूँ ना इधर खाता हूँ। तो मैंने खाना पार्सल मंगाया जिसमें मैंने दाल चावल और 2 चपाती मंगाया था। सादा खाना मैंने मंगाया था, और मैं एक दाल चावल का निवाला मैंने डाला तो मुझे बहुत गंदा लगा। सो मैं लगा कुछ मुंह में आया होगा। सेकंड खाया तो मुझे उल्टी हो गई और इतना भयानक फील होने लगा। तो फिर मैंने जैसा मैं जो कपड़े पे था वही कपड़े में कैंटीन में गया, और वो जिन लोगों ने मुझे ये सब दिया था उनको पूछा कि आपने दिया है? तो बोले हाँ दिया है। तो मैंने बोला आप स्मेल लीजिए इसका। उन्होंने स्मेल लिया तो बोले बहुत ख़राब है। बाद में फिर मैंने मैनेजर को बुलाया, उसको मैंने स्मेल दिया। उनके 6 कर्मचारी को स्मेल देने के बाद में उन्होंने बताया कि ये खाने जैसा नहीं है, यानी वो निष्कृष्ट दर्जे का नहीं था, वो सड़ा हुआ खाना था। और फिर मैंने उन लोगों को 2-4 साल में जितनी बार भी उनको मैंने समझाया कि आप मुझे खाना अच्छा दिया करो, ये ख़राब खाना मत दिया करो। इनका मटन 15-15 दिन पहले का रहता, इनका चिकन 15 दिन का रहता, इनके अंडे अंदर से पूरे काले हुए रहते। मैं किसान हूँ, मैं सब्जी और सब के बारे में मैं आधे घंटे के हिसाब से बताता हूँ कि सब्जी का खाना कब बनाया गया है। तो यहाँ महाराष्ट्र में से आए हुए हर दिन स्टेशन में 10,000 लोगों के जान से ये लोग खिलवाड़ करते हैं। आमदार के जान से खिलवाड़ करते हैं, महाराष्ट्र से आने वाले किसानों की जान से ये लोग खेलते हैं और इनकी मुजरी इतनी है, कोई कंप्लेंट करे तो उसका ये सुनते भी नहीं है। और कई लोगों ने मुझे बताया कि हमारे खाने में ये दिया, कोई सुतली आई, कोई चिपकी ले आई, कोई कुछ गंदा आया। और 200-400 कंप्लेंट होने के बाद भी आज ये जो कंत्राटदार है 30 साल से यहाँ पे कुंडली मार के बैठा है।
आप एक विधायक है, वो भी रूलिंग पार्टी के विधायक है, इस तरीके से हाथ उठाना कितना जायज़ लगता है आपको?
मैं विधायक भी हूँ और मैं योद्धा भी हूँ। जब सब भाषा में समझाने के बाद में कोई समझता नहीं है तो बाला साहब ठाकरे जी ने हमको भाषा सिखाई भी है, जिसका इस्तेमाल मैंने किया है।
वो वीडियो में खास तौर से दिख रहा है आपने घूसों का भी उपयोग किया, झापट का भी उपयोग किया, लात भी मारने की कोशिश की। ऐसे में सर कंप्लेन कर सकते हैं आप?
मैंने कंप्लेंट किया, 4 बार किया, इसलिए मेरी जान मतलब मेरी सटक गई। मैं जूडो चैंपियन हूँ, मैं जिम्नास्टिक चैंपियन हूँ, मैं कराटे चैंपियन हूँ, मैं कुश्ती चैंपियन हूँ, तलवारबाजी, दांडपट्टा, कुश्ती का सब मैं चैंपियन हूँ, इसलिए मैं कुछ भी यूज़ कर सकता हूँ।
सर आप विधायक हैं, आपको लोग देखते हैं, आपसे लोग इंस्पायर होते हैं। ऐसे अगर आप देखें इस तरीके के कृत्य करेंगे तो लोग भी प्रवुक्त हो जाएंगे, कहीं वहाँ भी हिंसा हो रहेगी। एक तरीका होता है सर,
जब प्रशासन काम करता नहीं है, बार बार कंप्लेंट करने के बाद भी, तो जनता क्या करेगी? वो तो कायदा हाथ में लेगी ना। अब एक आमदार कंप्लेंट करता है और उसके अगर कोई दखल लेता नहीं है, उसमें अगर कार्रवाई करता नहीं है, तो ये आमदार क्या करेगा? खुद की जान देगा? बार बार बोलेगा नहीं अभी इतना तुमने सड़ा हुआ दिया, कल कीड़े पड़े हुआ खाना हमको खिला, ऐसा बोलेगा आमदार? इतना गांधीवादी नहीं हूँ मैं।
लेकिन जिस तरीके से विवाद चल रहा है मराठी बनाम हिंदी का, ऐसे में इस तरीके की हिंसा करना कितना जायज़ लगता है सर?
ये मैं नीचे गया तो उनके माथे पे कोई जात लिखी हुई नहीं थी, क्या प्रांत लिखा हुआ नहीं था कि वे कौन से जात के, कौन से प्रांत के, या वो जो खाना खिला रहे हो कौन से जाति को खिला रहे, वो खाने पे लिखा होता है क्या?
लेकिन सर आखिरकार जिस तरीके से वीडियो वायरल हुआ है, प्रश्न उपस्थित हो रहे हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं एक विधायक होने के नाते एक मॉरल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है। आपको थोड़ा भी मलाल है कि इस तरीके से नहीं होता? या
कोई मलाल नहीं है, मुझे कोई मलाल नहीं है, मुझे कोई ये विषय में ऐसा महसूस नहीं होता है कि मैंने कोई गलत किया है।
अच्छा, इसकी आप कहाँ इसको उठाएंगे, क्योंकि ये बहुत गंभीर विषय भी है।
अभी हम विधानसभा में अध्यक्ष महोदय जी से पॉइंट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन में बात रखने का प्रयास करेंगे। कनेक्टिंग मिनिस्टर जो है हमारे भुजबल साहब, उनको भी हम बताएंगे और पूरे इंडस्ट्री को भी हम कंप्लीट करने का।
शिवसेना स्टाइल की जो आपने बात की है वो हमने देखा, लेकिन इस समय जो वातावरण है पूरे महाराष्ट्र में, खास करके मुंबई में, वो स्टाइल मन से और उभाटाघट भी करते हुए नजर आ रहा है सड़कों पर। कैसे देखते हो उसे?
उनके बारे में मैं कुछ बोलना नहीं चाहूँगा। वो ये जो महाराष्ट्र में चल रहा है, ये महाराष्ट्र के हित का नहीं है।
धन्यवाद। तो ये हमारे साथ थे संजय गायकवाड़ जी, जो साफ तौर पे कह रहे हैं भले ही मैं विधायक हूँ, लेकिन बार बार अगर मेरी कंप्लेन को नज़रअंदाज किया जाएगा तो मैं इसी तरीके से फिर एक बार उस कैंटीन मैनेजर को मारूंगा। और ये शिवसेना स्टाइल है, मैं गांधीवादी मैं बिलीव नहीं करता, मैं उनको सबक जरूर सिखाऊंगा। हालांकि उन्होंने कहा कि इसका मुद्दा विधानसभा में वो जरूर उठाएंगे।
Right, Abhishek, getting us that special interview of the man, and this is what led to what really took place at that guest house. Let's listen in to how Sanjay Gaikwad, they're being defiant and being absolutely unapologetic, not regretting what has transpired, what took place. Listen in and take a look at what he did after he got that food that he complained was smelly.
अंदर एक अंदर
तू आमदार खावा तो लोक काय बोलशील आराम करा
अंदर एक अंदर
तू आमदार खावा तो लोक काय बोलशील आराम करा
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
a 36-hour non-stop flight
Yeah, 18
by a
into two.
small pack of B-2s. A lot of other aircraft were also involved, we know that. But let's talk about the B-2 flight itself. They took off from Missouri. 36 hours later, they landed back without once landing.
Yeah.
They delivered their bombs 18 hours later over Iran and then came back. How was this possible? Because the Department of Defense says at no point of time on this 36-hour journey was there any reason to believe that they were either detected or reacted to.
Well, they weren't detected, because if they were, then they'd be in some serious trouble. It's one of the most unbelievable missions, one of the most historic long-range strike missions. There were 7 B-2s, which by B-2 standards is a fair number of them. There was deception in the very beginning. There was a sense that some of them were flying west across the Pacific. In fact, they weren't. And even if a few planes were positioned in one area, they were not going to be flying the Pacific route.
That was the big distraction.
On social media said, you see the bombers, they're now flying west, so you know what's coming your way.
Welcome back. Let's get you this video that's gone completely viral of Sanjay Gaikwad, the Shiv Sena MLA of the Eknath Shinde faction, who has taken matters into his own hands. He's slapping a canteen staffer for serving him a dal that was smelly. This is Sanjay Gaikwad there justifying the act. After, bashing up that canteen staffer, he's bragging about it, saying that he knows martial arts, he knows judo, he knows karate, he knows kushti. That is what he's gone on to tell NDTV's Abhishek Avasthi. On NDTV, he's bragged about knowing all those art forms, including martial arts as well as kushti, and that is what he's gone on to say. He's not apologizing for what he's done, for taking matters into his own hands. He's in fact bragging about it. To know more on this, we have Radhika Ramaswamy joining us from Mumbai. Radhika, take us through the reactions coming about, especially of people in that canteen. Has anybody complained about the food? Any idea that we had in regard to, because we did hear Sanjay Gaikwad say that this has been repeatedly happening. It's happened hundreds of times over, and which is why he's now decided to take matters into his own hands.
That's right. Irrespective of whether there were previous complaints as far as the stale food there is concerned, no such act is justifiable. The fact that he took law into his hands, he started bashing that person up. So that's obviously not the way to go. Well, perhaps there may have been complaints in the past about the food there, but this is something that's completely unacceptable, is what even the canteen officials have said. In fact, Sujata, we believe, spoke to some of the canteen officials and staffers there who said that this is the food they've been serving for a long time, and a leader, an MLA of his stature, really going ahead and taking law into his hands and bashing people up for stale food is something that cannot be tolerated, and is something that reeks of VIP thuggery. But we'll really have to see how this will play out politically, right? Over the last few days, we've been seeing thuggery by VIPs, VIP goons, by MNS goons, and others from political leadership as well. But no real action on the ground, no concrete statements from the side of leadership. And in this case, Mr. Gaikwad is from the ruling coalition. He is part of Shinde Sena. We'll have to see what Eknath Shinde will say, how he will react, and whether any sort of action will be taken against Gaikwad from Shiv Sena. But be that as it may, the fact remains that this reeks of a culture of VIP hooliganism we've been seeing over the last few days, not just over the last few days, over a period of time where, these people do it with so much impunity, because many of these leaders know that they will get away. They are part of political leadership. They have clout. They know people from the Home Ministry, Home Department. They are close to many of the top leaders. They represent a constituency in itself. So instead of being example, leading by example for the constituency, they decide to take law into their hands and, decide to throw their weight around, which is what this man has also done. So, this doesn't really stop here, right? We've been seeing this
controversy is something that the man has been surrounded with. Do remember last year he'd gone on to say that he actually said that he will reward 11 lakh rupees to anyone who would chop off Rahul Gandhi's tongue. This was last year. Here we have him thrashing the man because of what he was going to eat was something that his tongue did not find very palatable and palpable. And here we have the man, just take a look at this very video that you have on your screen of the man assaulting, hitting this man, literally punching him, slapping him, trying to almost kick him. Abhishek did ask him as to, how does this really, what kind of messaging does this really put out, given the fact that you are an MLA of the Shiv Sena? Will the Shiv Sena take action against their own is the big question. Will Eknath Shinde be watching this and decide to take action in order to, basically make an example of this, not just for his own party, but also for the MNS workers who have been making news and staying in news. Radhika, of course, bragging about bashing a man in Maharashtra, is that the norm? Has that really become normal for people in power to be victimizing the Mumbaikars in the state?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, violence is being normalized. Beating people up is being normalized by many of these VIPs. And that's what we've been seeing over a period of time. This culture of VIP hooliganism is something normalized because they get away with it. We do not see any concrete action on the ground. We do not see FIRs. Maybe some FIR do get registered with lenient sections, but they are never really arrested. They do not get produced before the court. They never serve jail time for this hooliganism. So that never happens, which is why, these people brazen it there and, are confident enough to go ahead and beat people up because there are no consequences to their actions. But we'll, of course, keep this campaign up to ensure that police take action against this goon as well. We'll have to see how Eknath Shinde will react to it. This MLA from Buldhana, Mr. Gaikwad, is close to Eknath Shinde. In fact, he's made controversial statements in the past as well, as you've been pointing out. And in that particular interview, he says he does not regret what he did. There is no remorse whatsoever, and he says that the man deserved it. That's what his words were. He said that he's been given stale food, and this has happened in the past as well. He's raised multiple complaints, but
Radhika, let's just, listen in to Abhishek Vasti, our colleague, who was there exactly where this incident took place. He even spoke with Sanjay Gaikwad. Let's listen in to what Abhishek has to say and what Sanjay Gaikwad said in his defense, rather in his defiance.
मैनेजर है उसको थप्पड़ मारा, घूसे मारे क्योंकि उसने खराब दाल उनको दी थी। देखिए, ये कैंटीन है, यहाँ पर काम चल रहा है और सुबह का वक्त होने से गर्दी भी ज़्यादा है और ऐसे में आरोप ये लग रहा है कि इस कैंटीन में जो खाना परोसा गया था वो सही नहीं था। लोगों से बात ये उसी कैंटीन है जहां पर जो वीडियो वायरल हो रहा है विधायक संजय गायकवाड़ का, जो एकनाथ शिंदे के गुट से आते हैं, जिसमें साफ तौर पर ये दिख रहा है किस तरीके से विधायक जी ने जो मैनेजर है उसको थप्पड़ मारा, घूसे मारे क्योंकि उसने खराब दाल उनको दी थी। देखिए, ये कैंटीन है, यहाँ पर काम चल रहा है और सुबह का वक्त होने से गर्दी भी ज़्यादा है और ऐसे में आरोप ये लग रहा है कि इस कैंटीन में जो खाना परोसा गया था वो सही नहीं था। लोगों से बात करने की कोशिश करते हैं। सर, कब से खा रहे हैं यहाँ पर, किस तरीके का खाना रहता है, क्या यहाँ पर कभी कोई कंप्लेन की है आपने या आई है?
मैं तो यहाँ फर्स्ट टाइम आया हूँ अभी।
नहीं, यहाँ पे तो ठीक है, खाना पीना सब अच्छा है और इतना ऐसा कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं लग रहा था मुझे।
कल विधायक जी ने यहाँ पर प्रश्न उपस्थित किया था कि दाल खराब मिली थी और बल का प्रयोग भी किया गया था सर्वेंट के ऊपर। ऐसे में एक नागरिक होने के नाते कैसे देखते हैं इस चीज़ों को?
नहीं, ऐसा तो एक्चुअली उतना थोड़ा सा हाइपर होना नहीं चाहिए था उनको, लेकिन ठीक है, मतलब जो उस सिचुएशन के हिसाब से वो जो होना था वो हो गया। अभी हम लोग तो कल नहीं थे, हम लोग तो इधर।
देखिए, ये वही कैंटीन
जनता के पास सवाल ही सवाल है।
जवाब ढूंढने को वो देखती है न्यूज़ और देखती है यहाँ तो सवालों का मायाजाल है। ऊपर से ये अलग फाइट है, कोई पूरा लेफ्ट तो कोई पूरा राइट है। बीच में मुद्दे के साथ कौन है, जनता को जवाब चाहिए। इसीलिए सवालों की परेड नहीं, मैं लाऊंगा खबरों की कचहरी। मैं शुभांकर मिश्रा, मेरे साथ देखिए कचहरी रात 8 बजे सिर्फ NDTV इंडिया पर।
But I'd like to start this off by asking you, Vishnu, what you think about the whole question of India not having stealth fighters right now.
It's a huge
Everyone's
problem.
trying to sell them to us as well.
It's a huge problem, Shiv. Let's face it, in as much as we love the Rafale aircraft and the Indian Air Force is completely vouching for it, perhaps they'd like more than 100 more. The Indian Navy has just gotten into an order for 26 Rafale M aircraft. There is a generation gap between the Rafale and the stealth. There is a good reason why a stealth platform is called a 5th generation aircraft and a Rafale is a 4th or 4.5 generation aircraft, and that is low observability. So in as much as the Rafale has brilliant sensors, both
It's 10 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. You are watching NDTV 24/7. I am Parmeshwar Bava. We've got an action-packed bulletin lined up for you with news from across the country and around the world. Let's begin with the top headlines you need to know. In a shocking show of high-handedness, a Maharashtra lawmaker upset over the quality of dal served to him at an MLA canteen in Mumbai, assaulted the canteen operator, hitting him on the face and punching him so hard that he fell on the floor. Three Maha slapstick Sena's NDTV campaigns relentlessly to stop these thugs. The Bihar voter list row erupts as Patna braces for an opposition versus Election Commission protest. Tejashvi Yadav and Rahul Gandhi are expected to lead this protest in Patna. A bridge collapses in Gujarat. A tanker was just moments away from falling, as you can see in these dramatic visuals. A bridge crumbles in Vadodara. Kerala-born nurse Nimisha Priya is set to be executed in Yemen on the 16th of July. She was arrested for murdering a Yemeni man. US President Donald Trump reiterates his tariff threats to BRICS. He says BRICS nations will be expected to pay 10% tariffs if they have anti-American policies. Our big focus, in a shocking show of high-handedness, a Maharashtra lawmaker upset over the quality of dal served to him at an MLA canteen in Mumbai, assaulted the canteen operator, hitting him on the face and punching him so hard that he fell on the floor. The incident at the Akashvani MLA canteen in Churchgate is now viral. It was caught on camera, a video clip raising questions about the conduct of elected representatives in public. The MLA, however, said he doesn't regret his act and said this was the Shiv Sena style. I'm quoting him here. Sanjay Gaikwad, MLA from Buldhana, had ordered dal. When the order was delivered, he found that the dal was stinking. A towel wrapped around his waist. The MLA went to the canteen and started asking the staff about who prepared the dal. He was then seen calling people and asking them to smell the packet. You can see this in the visuals that are playing out on your screens at the moment. The MLA also said he had some of the dal and experienced stomach cramps and uneasiness. The MLA is seen getting impatient, waiting for the canteen operator. But when NDTV approached the MLA, he said the dal was not stale, it was rotten. But here's the crucial part. Asked if such conduct suits an MLA, he replied, and I quote, "I am an MLA and a warrior too. When someone chose not to understand despite repeated attempts, I used the language Bala Sahib Thackeray has taught us." He added, and I quote, "I lost it. I'm a champion in judo, gymnastics, karate and wrestling. I am not a Gandhian. I have no regrets." My colleagues Radhika Ramaswamy and Anuj Raite have been tracking all the finer developments for us. Radhika joins us live at the moment. Radhika, take us through exactly what triggered the altercation between Sanjay Gaikwad and the canteen staff.
That's right. In that video, we can see very, very clearly how Sanjay Gaikwad takes law into his hands. In fact, he goes ahead and bashes that person up, the canteen worker. He slaps him, he punches him because the food was stale. Of course, he makes people smell the food. He says how stale it is and that he's been giving complaints to the grievance cell there, and he'd made multiple complaints in the past, but despite that, nothing improves, and therefore he decides to resort to violence and beats these poor canteen workers up. And when Abhishek Awasthi confronted him, asked him about how, as a legislator, as a representative of a constituency, how could he beat people up, and what is the kind of example he's setting with that, he says that he doesn't regret it. There's absolutely no remorse coming from the side of that MLA, which is what is shocking. Of course, people could do things out of rage. Sometimes people do apologize after that, but he says that he does not regret what he did and that he will continue doing this, if food continues to be stale in that particular canteen. So over stale food, a man was beaten up. So there is VIP thuggery that's on display, no doubt about it. And the fact that this man knows he can get away with it. He is not new to controversies. He's, said things in the past which were absolutely unacceptable and controversial as well, but this time he went ahead and beat a person up, bashed that poor canteen worker, and nothing that he says really justifies what he did. He continues to say that he's a farmer, he knows how the food must taste, and that he knows martial arts, and therefore if they do not improve their services, then I will go ahead and beat these people up, and I do not have any sort of regret. So this really shows the impunity with which the VIP culture is at play in the state of Maharashtra, and not just here but across, and we've been seeing such instances in the past as well. But the big question is, will some action be taken against this individual? What will be the statement of Eknath Shinde? What will Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis do? Any sort of disciplinary action be taken? That remains to be seen. Also, can an FIR be registered? Because in the previous instances of VIP thuggery and high-handedness, there were cases registered, but no stricter sections were added to that FIR, which is why these people got away. They're just called into the police station and they're released immediately. But in this case, we'll really have to see what will happen, because this man is a leader, an MLA, represents a constituency, part of the government. A lot being expected out of Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, who also happens to be the Home Minister of the state, and of course from Eknath Shinde as well.
Right, Radhika, thanks so much for joining us with the latest. Anuj Raite is also tracking the finer developments of this story for us. Meanwhile, Priyanka Chaturvedi has emphasized that last year Sanjay Gaikwad had threatened and announced 11 lakh rupees to anyone who cuts off Rahul Gandhi's tongue. She's highlighted now this man is seen beating up a helpless canteen worker. In fact, joining us over the phone line at the moment, Priyanka Chaturvedi, MP from the UPD Shiv Sena faction. Also joining us, national spokesperson, Shiv Sena, the Shinde faction, Susie Ben Shah. Thank you so much for making time for us. Our focus remains on where the accountability begins and why everyone is silent until the cameras roll. Well, Susie Ben Shah, to you first. Sanjay Gaikwad is a sitting MLA under your banner. Is slapping a canteen worker over food a reflection of the governance style your party promotes?
Thank you for having me. A very good morning to all, and it's always a pleasure to be on NDTV. While it's on the face of it, of course, you cannot hit anyone. We abhor violence. But what was the reference to context? Everything will be looked into, and action will be taken as necessary. There cannot be two ways about it, that whether it be Shiv Sena, whether it be the BJP, the entire Mahayuti government, including the Ajit Dada, have stood for the rule of law, and it will be applied equally. Whosoever and howsoever and whatever position you are in, let there not be any confusion over that issue.
From the MLA, no action from your party, silence from the Deputy Chief Minister, Mr. Shinde. Why? Is this approval of VIP arrogance?
No, that's not the point. Here the question is it has to be properly investigated, and it will be investigated. You see, let me understand that. If we are not a banana republic, we don't decide a course of action on a TV phono. It has to be looked into. It will be looked into, and necessary action will be taken. There cannot be knee-jerk decisions. Give us time. Necessary action will be taken.
There can't be knee-jerk reactions, but that's exactly what Mr. Gaikwad is seen doing, disapproving of dal and then throwing punches. You often accuse others of politicizing issues, but when your own MLA is caught on the wrong side of the law, your party is actually quiet. Why the double standard, ma'am?
No, there is no question of any double standard. Again, this has come in the light this morning. We will look into it. You don't expect me to give a statement or decide the course of action while sitting on a TV studio. You have to, investigation has to be done. Mr. Kasap was given 1 year. 1 year. It was an open and shut case. But rule of law must be followed. We are not a banana republic. Let us understand.
But Mr. Gaikwad is an elected representative. What message are you sending when an MLA can allegedly hit a staffer inside a state-run guest house and still face no disciplinary action? I do agree that this video has come to surface just this morning, a few hours ago, but no disciplinary action, no message from Mr. Shinde, no official reaction from your party.
As far as for the last 2-3 days, we believe that Marathi language is our spirit, is our soul. We stand for the culture of Marathi language and the Marathi people. We condemn and abhor violence. Has UBT condemned violence conducted by office bearers, I would say criminals, then the office bearers of Manse, even one? And here we are condemning. Yes, you must speak Marathi. Marathi, Mumbai, Maharashtra is our karma bhumi, आणि म्हणून आपल्याला मराठी बोलायलाच पाहिजे आणि शिकायला पण पाहिजे. I agree, but taking law in your arms of the way, has Ubata condemned in unequivocal terms about the violence which is going on? Have they done that? So why this double standards? Why this duplicity? Ubata is use and throw party. That is what they do. That is what they do. The duplicity, they talk something, do something, never walk the talk.
Well, I wish we had Ms. Chaturvedi to offer a rebuttal, but I seem to have lost that line with Priyanka Chaturvedi, who was joining us. But ma'am, as the ruling party in Maharashtra, shouldn't the burden of setting the tone for political conduct actually start with you?
Absolutely. I don't deny it. I don't deny it at all. You cannot hit anyone. Cannot hit anyone. I do agree. Especially, and this applies across board. But yes, if anyone humiliates the Marathi language or insults the Marathi language, then of course it's a different story. But in this case, we have to understand what was the matter. What was the matter? It will be acted upon.
Right. So then will you publicly call for an inquiry or even suspension for Sanjay Gaikwad pending investigation? Or are party lines more important than public accountability?
2-3 hours, lady. 2-3 hours. Give us some time. Don't worry.
Okay. Right.
What is fair, just and right will be done.
We certainly hope so, because these are dramatic visuals of Sanjay Gaikwad, representatives in public office who should not be acting like this at all. Whether the Shinde faction publicly calls for an inquiry or suspension of Sanjay Gaikwad, that remains to be seen. We are told that in a few hours, the party is expected to release an official statement and react and take further action. Whether party lines are more important than public accountability, that remains to be seen. We also have Abhishek Avasthi, who's been tracking the finer developments for us. Abhishek joins us live at the moment. Abhishek, how is the ruling alliance responding to back-to-back violence incidents? MNS's Mira Road assault, now this.
Definitely, as we interacted with the MLA, it was clear he has no regret to the entire incident. And if you also see what is more disturbing, and what I want to highlight is, if you look to the viral video that is going around in the social media, it is not only the MLA. Definitely it's a big question that MLA taking law in his own hand, it is not acceptable. Secondly, we have his supporters around. if you look at that video, there are few of his supporters also hitting the manager, and that's more concerning. You know, being an MLA, you take the law in your hand. At the same time, you have your people around who are also beating him. So it's a big concern, and definitely question will be raised when it comes to the law and order situation, because, you know, back-to-back things are happening in the state of Maharashtra, but it is unacceptable. What we hear from our Chief Minister is that, you know, anyone who will take law in his hand, action will be initiated. Now we will have to wait and watch out for what kind of action against Mr. Sanjay Gaikwad is being taken, or at least it will be condemned by Mahayuti together.
Meanwhile, Abhishek, I understand that you are at the canteen where this entire episode took place. Are there eyewitness accounts or other CCTV footage confirming this assault? And what are people saying in the canteen where you are?
Definitely this is the morning peak hours, and at this time there is a huge rush inside, and you know, we had tried to speak to the staff out there. Everyone was of the opinion that definitely there could be something which is not acceptable, or the food item which was served was spoiled or anything of that sort. But justifying you know, violence is not right, and that too by MLA. MLA is not acceptable, and people over here who are having their breakfast, they also said that, you know, definitely there is a need of improvement for this canteen, but the way MLA has beaten up the manager is not acceptable. We have also gone inside the kitchen. We have also looked how the food is being cooked. So definitely, no doubt, the other side of it should also be focused on, that there is a need to improve the food quality which was served, but at the same time you cannot justify violence, and that too, being an MLA, taking law and order in your hand is not acceptable.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Abhishek, what is the condition of the staff member who was assaulted? Has he spoken to the media or police officials?
Definitely, we are trying to track him down, getting his details, because as of now, see, people over here, first we'll have to understand it's a government canteen, and people over here work in their shift. So the video, we believe, is of yesterday night, and definitely that manager was of the second shift. So he might be coming in the afternoon.
Okay.
We'll try to track him down. We'll try to understand whether he has lodged any police complaint or any other resort that it's possible for him to do. But at the same time, you know, the way things have happened in this canteen, definitely on the side that MLA has taken the law in his hand is not acceptable. On the other side also, we'll have to look at that. You know, there is a lot improvement required when it comes to the quality of food that is being served here. Back to you.
Yes, you've mentioned that, Abhishek. Thanks so much for joining us with the latest from Ground Zero. Anuj Raite is also with us, tracking all the latest developments. Anuj, is the party distancing itself from Gaikwad's actions or standing by him? Are other MLAs supporting or condemning his behavior privately or off record?
You know, I'm here in Vidhan Bhavan where we just had Senior Minister from Shiv Sena, Shambhuraji Desai, talk about how, you know, the proceedings of the House are going to begin in a short while from now onwards. And he said that the party will look into this matter with close detail, and if required, they will also take this up to Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis and Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, the leader of the party. However, you know, Shambhuraji Desai did not comment on whether the party supports this line or does not support this line, but they are only maintaining the fact that, you know, this will be taken up. You know, they need, he reiterated on how they need to understand both the sides. What video shows might be the one side of it. So one can clearly see that a similar pattern has been followed by, you know, by the party, even in another kind of a Punchgate scandal that is unfolding in front of us right now, where although there is a direct video evidence of what has unfolded, and yet the party would be willing to wait for longer. Of course, they would be there because the video has only been out for an hour and a half. So they would be waiting for a clear from the party on what exactly their line of, you know, line is going to be. We have Yogesh Kadam here with us. Mr. Kadam, what would we say to Sanjay Gaikwad? We've seen that his video has gone viral of hitting a canteen worker?
I think the due complaint should have been filed. He did not have to take the law in his hand. Thank you.
That was Yogesh Kadam, Minister of State Home Department, in a rush to attend the assembly right now, made it very clear that a due complaint should have been filed and violence should have been avoided. Of course, we'll get a more elaborate statement on what the party stand is going to be on this entire matter. But there we heard it from the first official, first minister who is very closely linked to this. He's the Minister of State for Home Department, talking about how due process should have been followed instead of matters being taken into his own hands by Sanjay Gaikwad.
Thanks to Anuj Raite, we have the first official reaction from Yogesh Kadam stating that complaints should have been filed and that Sanjay Gaikwad didn't have to take the law in his own hands. Anuj Raite getting you the latest reaction from Yogesh Kadam outside the Vidhan Sabha there. Anuj, meanwhile, is there a pattern of unchecked aggression emerging under the Mahayuti government? What is the local sentiment?
That has been the case, especially because we've been following how VIP hooliganism has been on a rise here in Maharashtra. And of course, what happened with the MNS, there were the workers of the MNS party involved. And later on, the person who was involved in the Andheri, that heinous thing that unfolded in Andheri, there as well, we see that there was no direct involvement of a party position holder as such, but someone related to a party position holder. But here in this case, we have not just an MLA, a sitting MLA, but a sitting MLA from the ruling dispensation. And we've also been covering about how Shinde Sena's role in this entire language row, which has led to violence in certain pockets of the city or of the MMR region, has been very tricky. Yesterday also we saw Pratap Sarnaik, one of their ministers, in a way defied the order put by Devendra Fadnavis, Chief Minister and Home Minister, and rushed to the protest spot only for him to not getting allowed in the protest. And now this matter is unfolding. Of course, from what we've gathered from the little conversations that we've had, either with a couple of ministers or with the spokesperson, we are made to understand that the party directive is not there in place yet. They would be waiting for what exactly is going to be the stance of the party, especially because Shiv Sena Shinde faction has been having inconsistent views, have been having inconsistent approach towards a lot of matters that are unfolding in the state right now. But when you talk about unchecked violent acts here in the state, well, that is something that has been on the top of the agenda for the opposition, right? And it just does not involve the violent acts of slapping or of punching in the MMR region, but even go to certain heinous crimes. We've seen how the opposition last week, in fact, which was the first week of this entire monsoon session, talked about how the farmer suicide has been on top. They talked about how the cases against women, especially in the deeper pockets of the state, have been on a high, and the opposition has been protesting against it right here outside the assembly on those matters. So yes, the unchecked violence, not just of one sort, but of different nature across the state, has been something that the Mahayuti government, not just the current Mahayuti government, but even when Eknath Shinde was the chief minister for a couple of years, even then it was one of those contentious matters that was being discussed by the government, by the opposition. And of course, in the last 1 week, we are seeing in the backdrop of this entire language row, it has come to light yet again. And the role of the Home Department in this entire matter becomes interesting, because we've had ministers, including Yogesh Kadam, Devendra Fadnavis, in the earlier matters as well, talk about how strong action will be taken, and then they in a way warn the people of not going about hitting people in different issues. But did they really walk the talk is the question. And and when they did it do equally for both the parties involved? These are certain questions that the opposition has been posing in front of the government. The government, of course, has been showing about how everything is in control at the moment, and about how they are keeping a view, or they are keeping a check on different kinds of acts getting unfolded across the MMR region. But such kind of incidents taking place pretty much on a regular basis now, with the direct involvement of an MLA from the ruling dispensation, probably makes us understand that the situation is far more serious than what the government wants us to think about it.
Indeed, and thank you so much for highlighting the latest details, contextualizing the information for us. Do stay on with us, Anuj, as I rope in Abhishek Awasthi for a quick update too. Abhishek, has an FIR been filed yet against the MLA or his associates? And if not, why? I'm also aware that you've spoken to Sanjay Gaikwad after this incident. Take our viewers through what he's told you.
See, definitely, as of now, whether any procedure to register FIR or even to register a complaint has taken place or not, that we will have to track it because currently we are looking forward to where the manager is, whether he is in condition to file the FIR or to at least register a complaint. Remember, if you see the entire video, we will understand that he was very much nervous and he was afraid. And finally, by intervention of the people, you can see the staff members around, it was decided that please leave him, it will not happen again, and then he rushed out from the hotel. That can be clearly seen in that video. So I don't think maybe he will be in the position to go and register a complaint or an FIR against an MLA, or probably the person who is responsible for being in the assembly and making law for us, who is taking law in his own hand. So that is something difficult to confirm at this given point of time, though we will continue to track that, whether a complaint is launched or it could be turned into an FIR, and action will be initiated by the police, or what exactly is our Home Minister, that is the Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, will take action against his alliance partners MLA. That is something that we will have to wait, because the video has just gone viral since last night, and it was been on the social media platform since morning, and we have first spoken to him. NDTV spoke to him, and I directly confronted him and just asked a simple question. You are an MLA, if you take law in your own hand, will you justify the act? So he was telling clearly that I have several times complained about this kind of food served to me by this canteen, and they have not taken cognizance. So this time I have resorted to violence, and if they continue to do it, I will resort to the violence. And he labeled it as Shiv Sena style. So definitely, he firstly has no regret to the act what he has done. Secondly, he on our camera, when we asked him, he clearly pointed out that I will continue to do so. I have no regret of my act. And at the same time, if the canteen continues to serve such kind of food, more stringent action, more stringent Shiv Sena style action will be taken against them. So this was the answer to my question, which was posed directly to the MLA when we interacted with him one-on-one. So definitely, and lastly, I would also want to point out, when I say, do you at least regret, you have taken law in your own hand, you have slapped, and at the time when the environment of Maharashtra is very much heated over Marathi versus Hindi debate that is currently going on, successively parties are being violent on street, violent Hindi imposition is going on. Would you justify, will you justify this? So he was again telling that I don't know from which religion that he belongs to, but he gave me a spoiled food, and that's the reason I reacted to it. But one thing that comes out of this entire interaction is that he has no regret. In fact, being an MLA, being a public representative, I even asked him that, you are a public representative, you are being seen as an inspiration to people on ground. They hope that you will do their work in the assembly, and you are taking the law in your own hand. Do you justify it? So he also justifies it, and he says that he has no regret, and at the end he says, I will continue to do it, and this is the style of Shiv Sena. If the canteen owner, manager, or the people around don't understand, then I will continue to do it. So this is how it has been, and definitely now who will act against him, whether police will act, a complaint will be launched, that's something difficult to understand, because after the video that I have seen, which has gone viral, the person is very afraid. I don't know whether he will come forward to launch a complaint or not. Some suo motu cognizance is expected from the Home Department, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis, and collectively, Mahayuti, the ruling alliance, should condemn this act by the MLA, who is a ruling party MLA. Back to you.
Abhishek, thanks so much for joining us with those crucial details. As Abhishek Avasthi is reporting, the MLA, however, said he does not regret his act and said this was the, and I quote, Shiv Sena style. When NDTV approached the MLA, he said the dal was not stale, it was rotten, and specifically asked if such conduct suits an MLA. He replied, I am an MLA and a warrior too. To quote him further, he said, when someone chose not to understand despite repeated attempts, I used the language Bala Sahib Thackeray has taught us. He added, I lost it. I'm a champion in judo, gymnastics, karate and wrestling. I am not a Gandhian. I have no regret. Listen in.
पहली बात तो जो वीडियो वायरल हो रहा है सर, उसमें आप कैंटीन मैनेजर को मारते हुए नज़र आ रहे, पूरा मुद्दा क्या था? क्या आपको वो दाल परोसी गई जिसमें ख़राब दाल बताई जा रही है? क्या
उन्हें दाल परोसी नहीं गई थी। मैंने मेरे रूम में जो मेरा रूटीन टाइम होता है 10 बजे का, ऑलरेडी मैं कभी भी बाहर खाना नहीं खाता हूँ, ना गांव में खाता हूँ ना इधर खाता हूँ। तो मैंने खाना पार्सल मंगाया जिसमें मैंने दाल चावल और 2 चपाती मंगाया था, सादा खाना मैंने मंगाया था। और मैं एक दाल चावल का निवाला मैंने डाला तो मुझे बहुत गंदा लगा। सो मैं लगा कुछ मुँह में आया होगा। सेकंड खाया तो मुझे उल्टी हो गई और इतना भयानक फील होने लगा। तो फिर मैंने जैसा मैं जो कपड़े पे था वही कपड़े में कैंटीन में गया और वो जो जिन लोगों ने मुझे ये सब दिया था उनको पूछा कि आपने दिया है? तो बोले हाँ दिया है। तो मैंने बोला आप स्मेल लीजिए इसका। उन्होंने स्मेल लिया तो बोले बहुत ख़राब है। बाद में फिर मैंने मैनेजर को बुलाया, उसको मैंने स्मेल दिया। उनके 6 कर्मचारी को स्मेल देने के बाद में उन्होंने बताया कि ये खाने जैसा नहीं है, यानी वो निष्कृष्ट दर्जे का नहीं था, वो सड़ा हुआ खाना था। और फिर मैंने उन लोगों को 2-4 साल में जितनी बार भी उनको मैंने समझाया कि आप मुझे खाना अच्छा दिया करो, ये ख़राब खाना मत दिया करो। इनका मटन 15-15 दिन पहले का रहता, इनका चिकन 15 दिन का रहता, इनके अंडे अंदर से पूरे काले हुए रहते। मैं किसान हूँ, मैं सब्जी और सब के बारे में मैं आधे घंटे के हिसाब से बताता हूँ कि सब्जी का खाना कब बना गया है। तो यहाँ महाराष्ट्र में से आए हुए हर दिन सेशन में 10,000 लोगों के जान से ये लोग खिलवाड़ करते हैं, आमदार के जान से खिलवाड़ करते हैं, महाराष्ट्र से आने वाले किसानों की जान से ये लोग खेलते हैं। और इनकी मुजरी इतनी है, कोई कंप्लेंट करे तो उसका ये सुनते भी नहीं हैं। और कई लोगों ने मुझे बताया कि हमारे खाने में ये दिया, कोई सुतली आई, कहीं चिपकी ले आई, कहीं कुछ गंदा आया। और 200-400 कंप्लेंट होने के बाद भी आज ये जो कंत्राटदार है 30 साल से यहाँ पे कुंडली मार के बैठा है।
आप एक विधायक है, वो भी रूलिंग पार्टी के विधायक है, इस तरीके से हाथ उठाना कितना जायज़ लगता है आपको?
मैं विधायक भी हूँ और मैं योद्धा भी हूँ। जब सब भाषा में समझाने के बाद में कोई समझता नहीं है तो बाला साहब ठाकरे जी ने हमको भाषा सिखाई भी है, जिसका इस्तेमाल मैंने किया है।
वो वीडियो में खास तौर से दिख रहा है आपने घूसों का भी उपयोग किया, झापट का भी उपयोग किया, लात भी मारने की कोशिश की। ऐसे में सर कंप्लेन कर सकते हैं आप?
मैंने कंप्लेंट किया, 4 बार किया, इसलिए मेरी जान मतलब मेरी सटक गई। मैं जूडो चैंपियन हूँ, मैं जिम्नास्टिक चैंपियन हूँ, मैं कराटे चैंपियन हूँ, मैं कुश्ती चैंपियन हूँ, तलवारबाजी, दांड पट्टा, कुश्ती का सब मैं चैंपियन हूँ। इसलिए मैं कुछ भी यूज़ कर सकता हूँ।
सर आप विधायक हैं, आपको लोग देखते हैं, आपसे लोग इंस्पायर होते हैं। ऐसे अगर आप देखें इस तरीके के कृत्य करेंगे तो लोग भी प्रोवोक्ट हो जाएंगे, कहीं वहाँ भी हिंसा होगी, क्योंकि एक तरीका होता है सर।
जब प्रशासन काम करता नहीं है, बार बार कंप्लेंट करने के बाद भी, तो जनता क्या करेगी? वो तो कायदा हाथ में लेगी ना। अब एक आमदार कंप्लेंट करता है और उसके अगर कोई दखल लेता नहीं है, उसमें अगर कोई कार्रवाई करता नहीं है, तो ये एक आमदार क्या करेगा? खुद की जान देगा? बार बार बोलेगा नहीं अभी इतना तो सड़ा हुआ दिया, कल कीड़े पड़े हुआ खाना हमको खिला, ऐसा बोलेगा आमदार? मैं इतना गांधीवादी नहीं हूँ मैं।
नहीं, लेकिन जिस तरीके से विवाद चल रहा है मराठी बनाम हिंदी का, ऐसे में इस तरीके की हिंसा करना कितना जायज़ लगता है सर?
जब मैं नीचे गया तो उनके माथे पे कोई जात लिखी हुई नहीं थी, क्या प्रांत लिखा हुआ नहीं था कि ये कौन से जात के कौन से प्रांत के, या वो जो खाना खिला रहे वो कौन से जाति को खिला रहे, वो खाने पे लिखा होता है क्या?
लेकिन सर आखिरकार जिस तरीके से वीडियो वायरल हुआ है, प्रश्न उपस्थित हो रहे हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं एक विधायक होने के नाते एक मॉरल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है। आपको थोड़ा भी मलाल है कि इस तरीके से नहीं होता? या
कोई मलाल नहीं है, मुझे कोई मलाल नहीं है, मुझे कोई ये विषय में ऐसा महसूस नहीं होता है कि मैंने कोई गलत किया है।
अच्छा, इसकी आप कहाँ इसको उठाएंगे, क्योंकि ये बहुत गंभीर विषय भी है?
अभी हम विधानसभा में अध्यक्ष महोदय जी से पॉइंट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन में बात रखने का प्रयास करेंगे। कनेक्टिंग मिनिस्टर जो है हमारे भुजबल साहब, उनको भी हम बताएंगे और फूड एंड ड्रग्स को भी हम कंप्लेंट करने का प्रयास
सेना स्टाइल की जो आपने बात की है वो हमने देखा, लेकिन इस समय जो वातावरण है पूरे महाराष्ट्र में, खास करके मुंबई में, वो स्टाइल मनसे और उभाटागढ़ भी करते हुए नजर आ रहा है सड़कों पर। कैसे देखते हो उसे?
तो उनके बारे में मैं कुछ बोलना नहीं चाहूँगा। वो ये जो महाराष्ट्र में चल रहा है ये महाराष्ट्र के हित का नहीं है।
धन्यवाद। तो ये हमारे साथ थे संजय गायकवाड़ जी, जो साफ तौर पे कह रहे हैं भले ही मैं विधायक हूँ, लेकिन बार बार अगर मेरी कंप्लेन को नज़रअंदाज किया जाएगा तो मैं इसी तरीके से फिर एक बार उस कैंटीन मैनेजर को मारूंगा। और ये शिवसेना स्टाइल है। मैं गांधीवादी मैं बिलीव नहीं करता, मैं उनको सबक जरूर सिखाऊंगा। हालांकि उन्होंने कहा कि इसका मुद्दा विधानसभा में वो जरूर उठाएंगे।
Well, is this case being taken seriously or being brushed off as a VIP tantrum? And are there eyewitness accounts confirming this assault? Well, Abhishek Avasthi was at the canteen reporting regarding the condition of the staff member who was allegedly assaulted and regarding what eyewitnesses saw. Listen in.
आपके जैसे अधिकारी या कहेंगे जो मैनेजर थे कल रात को बैठे थे, जिस तरीके से घटना घटी, पूरा वायरल हुआ, आज पूरा देश उसे देख रहा है, कैसे देखते हैं? क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं कुछ ना कुछ खराब हो जाता होगा, लेकिन उसका ब्लेम आप लोगों पर आता है।
सर इसके बारे में मैं अभी कुछ बोल नहीं सकते, प्लीज़ सर।
आपको क्या जायज़ लगता है जिस तरीके से विधायक जी ने हाथ उठाया? कल आप भी हो सकते थे सर।
नहीं सर, ये आपको क्या कैसा लगता है ये बोलिए?
गलत है सर।
तो गलत ही है ना सर, तब इससे आगे मैं कुछ बोल नहीं सकता, प्लीज़।
हम इस वक्त उसी कैंटीन में मौजूद है। ये आकाशवाणी कैंटीन है जो कि MLA हॉस्टल के नीचे है, और आपको बता दें ये उसी कैंटीन है जहां पर जो वीडियो वायरल हो रहा है विधायक संजय गायकवाड़ का, जो एकनाथ शिंदे के गुट से आते हैं, जिसमें साफ तौर पर ये दिख रहा है किस तरीके से विधायक जी ने जो मैनेजर है उसको थप्पड़ मारा, घूसे मारे, क्योंकि उसने खराब दाल उनको दी थी। देखिए ये कैंटीन है, यहाँ पर काम चल रहा है और सुबह का वक्त होने से गर्दी भी ज़्यादा है, और ऐसे में आरोप ये लग रहा है कि इस कैंटीन में जो खाना परोसा गया था वो सही नहीं था। लोगों से बात करने की कोशिश करते हैं। सर कब से खा रहे हैं यहाँ पर, किस तरीके का खाना रहता है, क्या यहाँ पर कभी कोई कंप्लेन की है आपने या आई है?
मैं तो यहाँ फर्स्ट टाइम आया हूँ अभी।
नहीं, यहाँ पे तो ठीक है, खाना पीना सब अच्छा है और इतना ऐसा कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं लग रहा था मुझे।
कल विधायक जी ने यहाँ पर प्रश्न उपस्थित किया था कि दाल खराब मिली थी और बल का प्रयोग भी किया गया था सर्वेंट के ऊपर। ऐसे में एक नागरिक होने के नाते कैसे देखते हैं इस चीज़ों को?
नहीं, ऐसा तो एक्चुअली उतना थोड़ा सा हाइपर होना नहीं चाहिए था उनको, लेकिन ठीक है, मतलब जो सिचुएशन के हिसाब से वो जो होना था वो हो गया। अभी हम लोग तो कल नहीं थे, हम लोग तो इधर।
देखिए ये वही कैंटीन है। कोशिश करते हैं जो यहाँ पर काम करते कर्मचारी, जो मैनेजर दिख रहा था वो फ़िलहाल यहाँ पर अभी नहीं है उनकी ड्यूटी, लेकिन कोशिश ये करेंगे कि बात करें लोगों से और समझने की कोशिश करें कि आखिरकार ऐसा क्या हो गया जिस तरीके से जो वीडियो वायरल हुआ है उसमें विधायक जी इतने भड़क गए कि अपने बल का प्रयोग वो करने लगे। दादा कितने समय से काम कर रहे हैं? कल जिस तरीके से वीडियो वायरल हुआ, हो जाता होगा कभी कभी इस तरीके से घटना, कैसे देखते हैं आप सर?
नहीं, ये गलत हुआ, ऐसा बोले, सही बोले तो ये क्या है, थोड़ा एक सांभर के लिए, नहीं तो कुछ ऐसा मारता है बोले तो गलत है ना। अभी आमदार मारता तो अच्छा था, ये सब लोग मिल के मारा हुआ गलत है।
हाँ, वो भी देखा गया कि खाली उन्होंने नहीं मारा, बाकी लोगों ने मिल के उस जो कैंटीन के मैनेजर है। आप भी यहाँ कितने सालों से काम कर रहे थे?
1 साल से काम कर रहे हैं, मेरा ड्यूटी नहीं था कल, मैं छुट्टी में था कल।
नहीं बराबर है, लेकिन इस तरीके की कंप्लेन आई है कभी, या इस तरह की कंप्लेन?
पहली बार
हुआ है। देखिए हमें बता रहे इस तरीके की कंप्लेन पहली बार हुई है, और यहाँ के लोग जो यहाँ काम कर रहे हैं वो साफ तौर पे ये भी कहते हैं कि इस तरीके से जो मारा गया, जो वो कहीं ना कहीं गलत है, ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए था। और इनके बात करने से एक और एक चीज़ समझ में आ रही है कि खाली विधायक ने ही नहीं मारा था, उनके साथ जितने कर्मचारी थे उन्होंने भी इस तरीके से हाथ उठाया, वो कहीं ना कहीं गलत है।
We also have a reaction lined up for you from Anand Dubey. Listen in.
कराने वाले सेवक को आप मारेंगे इसलिए कि खाना खराब है? उसकी क्या गलती है? आप जाइए, आप सरकार में बैठे, आप सरकार के सहयोगी विधायक हैं, आप जांच पड़ताल कीजिए, किचन में जाइए, आपके पास फूड एंड ड्रग्स डिपार्टमेंट है, उनसे मदद दीजिए। लेकिन आप किसी व्यक्ति को मार कैसे सकते हैं? उस गरीब व्यक्ति को आप उस 5 स्टार होटल वाले को कभी नहीं मारेंगे, आप बड़े बड़े व्यापारियों को नहीं मारेंगे, लेकिन एक गरीब व्यक्ति आपको हमेशा दिखता है। तो ये बहुत ही दुर्भाग्य है कि ये जो एकनाथ शिंदे की शिवसेना के लोग हैं, या और भी जो अजीत दादा के लोग हैं, या देवेंद्र जी के लोग हैं, ये क्या चाहते हैं? ये कैसा महाराष्ट्र बनाना चाहते हैं? जिनसे उम्मीद है कि ये कानून व्यवस्था बचाएंगे, वही कानून व्यवस्था तोड़ रहे हैं।
Well, the big question being, are we now seeing a new VIP culture where power equals impunity? You beat people, you threaten them and walk away without consequence? And also, meanwhile, is there a pattern of unchecked aggression emerging under the Mahayuti government? MLA Sanjay Gaikwad has clearly said he does not regret his act and that he is not a Gandhian. The incident at the Akashvani MLA canteen in Churchgate, caught on camera, is now viral, raising questions about the conduct of elected representatives in public. This, as the MLA says, that this was the Shiv Sena style. In the video, the MLA was seen getting impatient, waiting for the canteen operator. He then approaches the reception, asks the staff to call him. But when NDTV approached the MLA, he said that the dal was not stale, it was rotten. He further added that over the past several years, he told the canteen staff to give him fresh food, further saying that their chicken and egg stocks were old, that they were playing with the health of thousands of people every day, and when people complain, they don't listen. That seemed to be the justification that Mr. Gaikwad was providing after having beaten up the canteen person. Right, meanwhile, we have further breaking news coming in at the moment. I was mentioning whether there's a pattern of unchecked aggression emerging under the Mahayuti government. Take a look at these visuals that are playing out on your screens at the moment. Sena workers are seen vandalizing a toll plaza in Washim. MNS workers were seen vandalizing this toll plaza. Vandalism is on full display in Maharashtra, as you can see through these videos playing out on your screen. Whether it's Mumbai, whether it's Washim, the vandalism continues. We continue to track the finer developments for you and question whether there's a pattern of unchecked aggression emerging under the Mahayuti government, with Mr. Eknath Shinde remaining mum as we speak. This is the latest video coming in, exposing the vandalism on display as far as the state of Maharashtra is concerned.
आमदार या एमएलएज के खिलाफ एक तरीके से सॉफ्ट स्टांस रख रहा है, क्योंकि जब एमएनएस या फिर जो बाहर वायलेंस हुआ उसके ऊपर तो वो काफ़ी क्लियरली
सरकार प्रायोजित है। जो महाराष्ट्र में हिंदी मराठी का जो झगड़ा शुरू किया गया, ये सरकार प्रायोजित है।
सर, आपकी इमीडिएट डिमांड क्या रहेगी इस संजय गायकवाड़ केस में?
सरकार ने एक्शन लेना चाहिए। कानून हाथ में किसी को लेने का अधिकार नहीं है। कानून सबके लिए समान होता है।
क्या शिंदे क्या एकनाथ शिंदे जी का भी कर्तव्य बनता है कि जल्द से जल्द इस चीज़ पे स्टेटमेंट?
सरकार ने ही एक्शन लेना है। कानून किसी को हाथ में लेने का अधिकार नहीं है।
ऑलराइट, ये थे हमारे साथ नाना पटोले, जो कि काफ़ी क्लियरली बोल रहे हैं कि सरकार ने इस केस में जल्द से जल्द एक्शन ले लेना चाहिए। मेरे कैमरा पर्सन महेश हलवाई के साथ में अनुज राय, एनडीटीवी इंडिया के लिए।
Well, that was Anuj Raithe reporting from the Vidhan Sabha. But Sena workers, meanwhile, as after this Sanjay Gaikwad incident came to light, separately, Sena workers were seen vandalizing a Washim toll plaza, visuals of which were playing out on your screens just a few moments ago. We're told these were MNS workers vandalizing the toll plaza. So whether it's Mumbai, whether it's Washim, the vandalism, I beg your pardon, seems to continue.
Hello.
टोल फोड़ रहा है आदमी मन से वाले टोल फोड़ रहा है इधर।
Radhika Ramaswamy is tracking the latest details for us. She joins us live with further clarity regarding the visuals that are playing out on your screens at the moment. Radhika, we can see through these visuals that you've shared that workers are vandalizing a toll plaza. What happened? What triggered this?
And this was an incident that happened last evening at about 6 p.m. is when at least about 4 to 5 MNS workers started to vandalize that particular toll plaza. They've done it in the past as well, and they continue to do it once again. Of course, Thagri at its best. Now, as far as the reasons for this is concerned, we have a bite from one of the MNS workers here who justifies this act of vandalism. He says that there are some issues with respect to that particular road. It is under construction. No facilities provided to people, as a result of which they went ahead and vandalized that particular toll plaza. In fact, they've submitted multiple complaints and memorandums. Road to the neighboring village has not been completed, but despite that, these people are collecting tolls, which is why they've gone ahead and vandalized this particular toll plaza, which is in Washim. So once again, MN is continuing their, what we call as anti-toll agitation. They've done it in the past as well. of, really turning violent and then sort of harassing toll workers and vandalizing toll plazas in multiple places in Maharashtra. This time, this is happening in Washim. And this is, of course, part of a series of incidents of violence by the MNS workers. In the past, one was in the name of language. Now, in the name of toll, they have gone ahead and vandalized that particular toll plaza in Washim. Whether any sort of action will be taken, any police action or any disciplinary action by the MNS, that remains to be seen. But once again, a shocking incident where, we are seeing VVIP hooliganism at its best. These people are doing it with a lot of impunity. A culture of impunity is what we are seeing here, as a result of which, all these acts of violence is being normalized. And this time around anti-toll agitation, they've gone ahead and sort of destroyed that particular toll plaza in Washim.
Radhika, thanks so much for joining us with the latest information you've accessed. We'll, of course, keep in touch with you for the latest on Washim as well. Let me just bring our viewers up to date with the latest coming in, as MNS goons have now attempted to intimidate a rickshaw driver. MNS goons threatened the rickshaw driver to speak in Marathi. That's what is understood so far. There was a fight between the passenger and the driver, and then the MNS goons were said to intervene. They forced the migrant to apologize, raising the question, is the Marathi pride narrative now being hijacked by political violence, whether it's assembly corridors or the streets? This is the latest coming in. MNS goons have intimidated a rickshaw driver who was threatened for speaking in Hindi. There was a fight that broke out between the passenger and a driver, and MNS goons then intervened. In fact, these MNS forces had actually told the migrant to apologize, highlighting the question whether Marathi pride, whether the narrative of Marathi pride is being hijacked by violence politically, both in the assembly corridors and the streets. My colleague Sujata is tracking the latest for us. She joins us live at the moment. Sujata, episode after episode, now the MNS attempting to threaten rickshaw drivers for not speaking in Marathi. What's really going on?
Well, certainly, and as we know that a rickshaw driver who earlier refused to speak in Marathi was later absconded by the MNS workers, taken to their party office in Bhiwandi, where he was made to apologize, and thereafter also threatened that if a person belonging to a non-Marathi speaking community, and if they refuse to speak in Marathi, they must know that who will they deal with. So this is a clear warning by the MNS workers, stating that it is important for people to learn Marathi, and if they don't, then they will be treated the MNS style, that is the MNS way, where they'll be hit and then later no video recorded, but they'll themselves go and complain about it. As we know, Raj Thackeray had earlier also instructed his workers that if they go and they do some sort of violence to anybody very little concerned to the language of Marathi, they shouldn't record any videos. Instead, they must go and let the person who was hit complain himself. So we saw a similar case happening in Bhiwandi, whereas earlier it was seen in Virar as well, where a rickshaw driver was seen arguing over the language of Marathi, and the matter only seems to be escalating when it comes to this sort of political activism that MNS has come up to, where they believe that this sort of rage and hitting people would gain them votes in the upcoming elections, because of which such strategy is being adopted by the party, which definitely seems to not be working, because this is only agitating people in multiple ways. Over to you.
Sujata, as always, thank you so much for joining us with the latest update. Meanwhile, let's turn our attention now to the Prime Minister's longest diplomatic tour in 10 years. He's on the last leg. He has just touched down in Namibia. Lots on the agenda, whether it's critical minerals, diamonds, uranium supply, or cheetah conservation. Visuals coming in of the Prime Minister touching down in Namibia, which happens to be the last stop of his longest diplomatic tour in 10 years. After concluding his two-day visit to Brazil, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached Namibia, which is actually his first visit to the country. This visit to the African country also marks the last stop of Prime Minister Modi's five-nation tour. Now, this state visit, the third ever to be taken by an Indian Prime Minister,
It comes at the invitation of President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, and Prime Minister Modi will hold bilateral talks with him while he's in Namibia. He's also likely to actually deliver an address at the parliament there, just like his address to the parliament in Ghana.
Pressure on the Indian Air Force to get fighters, forget about stealth aircraft. The Indian government has made it clear that we're going to bet on the AMCA, which is India's own fighter. But getting these 4.5 generation fighters like the Rafale, which you've already sunk an enormous amount of money into, even the Indian Navy has signed on for them recently, and there are still these delays. But with this announcement, Vishnu, and that's my next question now, I'm wondering whether this means that things are much clearer as far as the MRFA, or we still can't jump the gun on that. I know as far as Indian procurement is concerned, nothing is over until it's over, right? Nothing is over until it's over, especially when the Rafale is theoretically competing against American fighters like the F-15 Eagle II. Yeah. You've got Putin's Sukhoi 35s. You've got the Typhoon theoretically as well. So it ain't over until it's over, and I completely agree with you on that. But by putting out this partnership, and this is not an MOU, this is an agreement which I'm assuming is going to fructify into a joint venture.
Yeah. 2028 is
when the first fuselages will roll out. Which again, I'm assuming means that work begins now. 2028 is 2 years away. That's like more than just a foot in the door?
No, I would suggest that they are leading in this competition. Yeah. All the Indian Air Force officers that we speak to, and they couch this language carefully, so I'm going to be responsible in how I report this. They say that they've had an exceptional experience with the Rafale. The Rafale is the aircraft of
Let's get you the latest lowdown as far as the Prime Minister's last touchdown of his longest diplomatic tour in the last decade is concerned. After concluding his 2-day visit to Brazil and after signing 6 crucial pacts there, Prime Minister Modi has touched down in Namibia. Take a look at the warm welcome he received. The visit to the African country marks the last stop of his 5-nation tour. And this state visit, the third ever to be taken by an Indian Prime Minister, it comes at the invitation of President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah. Prime Minister Modi will hold bilateral talks with him while he is in Namibia, and he will also address the parliament there, just like his address to the parliament in Ghana. We spoke to India's High Commissioner to Namibia, Ambassador Rahul Srivastava, earlier regarding the key points to look out for as the Prime Minister touches down in Namibia. Also about India's focus as far as African outreach is concerned. Here's what you need to keep your eyes peeled for. First visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Namibia in about 27 years. Take us through the strategic and diplomatic significance of this touchdown.
Well, yes, it's a milestone because this is happening, as you said, after 27 years. And the visit also takes place when we have the first female president of Namibia. She has just taken office in March this year. And over the years, since Namibia's independence, we have made steady progress in our relationship. However, the visit will provide an opportunity to elevate this relationship to a higher level. And also the PM's visit, PM Modi's visit reaffirms that Africa is a priority for us.
So, minerals and diamonds are expected to be central to the discussions that are expected to be held. What kind of agreements are likely, and if you could just take us through how they could benefit both our nations?
Indian companies and mostly the public sector units, they are interested in investing in the critical mineral sector of Namibia. For some time, we have had discussions, but we are looking at a visit from an Indian delegation with all these PSUs after PM Modi's visit to concretize the discussions during the visit. We are also in the process of discussing an agreement on mineral resources, and presently we have just a few Indian companies in Namibia. Nevertheless, these companies, they employ approximately 5,000 locals, and you can imagine when some of our large PSUs, they invest in critical mineral sector of Namibia. We are also interested in the heavy rare earth sector of Namibia, and when these large PSUs come, this figure that I mentioned, 5,000 employment of locals, this would increase tenfold, and this will make a significant impact on the current high unemployment in Namibia. The companies, the Indian companies, when they come and invest in the critical mineral sector and also the rare earth mineral sector, would also do value addition and beneficiation in Namibia, and this will also boost the Namibian economy. On uranium, yes, way back in 2009, we signed an agreement with Namibia on civil nuclear cooperation. However, we have not been able to import uranium from Namibia yet, and I'm very hopeful that the Prime Minister's visit will break the logjam so that discussions can on the export of uranium from Namibia to India can come in soon.
Well, we certainly hope so too. We'll be keeping a close eye on those developments as well. So then in what ways, Ambassador, does this visit reflect India's broader outreach to the global south, especially in Africa?
In Africa and for the global south also, for us it's very important that we build that capacity. And as I said, we would want to share our experience, expertise and knowledge with India. I can give you one example about the digital transformation that is happening in India. And it is our Prime Minister's wish that we share this experience also with the countries in the global south, especially with Africa. And Namibia, this has had a good start. We have the UPI-like digital payment system that is being developed in Namibia with cooperation from NIPL. So these are the areas that would open up with the visit.
Well, as always, news and updates continue right here on NDTV 24/7. We're slipping into a very quick break. Back in a moment with the latest updates for you.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
Some say sport is a matter of life and death. The truth is, it is far more serious than that. Sport is about ecstasy and agony, about pain and suffering, about joy and much more. Some say there's no one better to tell these stories. So here I am. Join me, Boria Majumdar, on India's #1 news network.
Vanakkam Tamil Nadu.
Well, the battle for Tamil Nadu 2026 is open now.
After Chief Minister Stalin rolls up his sleeves and Vijay steps in as a star challenger.
This is a mass gathering, not for cash.
Meanwhile, a former Chief Minister, Edapadi Palanisamy, begins his fight back.
The big comeback campaign by EPS has well and truly begun.
These are all the ultimate players, and this is going to be the ultimate test.
Vishnu, 9 years till the AMCA comes online, the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, which is India's own stealth fighter project. 9 years is an eternity in fighter technology, especially given what we've been seeing in the last few years, whether it comes to, drone tech, drone warfare, manned, unmanned teaming, which we've spoken about in a previous episode, the sheer scale of the network and how it's becoming very much part of the future battlefield. I'm wondering whether 9 years from now, what we perceive to be
in a very shocking video that has surfaced. This is Sanjay Gaikwad, the Shiv Sena MLA. We're talking about the Eknath Shinde faction MLA hitting out at a canteen worker for serving him dal that was smelly. And here we have Maharashtra thug netas exposed by NDTV, whether it is the sweet shopkeeper who was thrashed by M&S workers, and now a toll plaza employee has also been thrashed in Washington. And protest politics peak in Patna. This is the opposition joining forces ahead of elections that are coming up in the state of Bihar later this year. The Mahagathbandhan and the stir as far as the Chakka jam is concerned, with Rahul Gandhi and Tejasvi Yadav leading the way. A bridge has collapsed in Gujarat. A tanker just moments away from falling. The bridge to Vadodara has crumbled. There were cars that just got swept away into that river, but rescue operations are underway. Prime Minister Modi lands in Namibia. Well, the Prime Minister's bilateral with the President of Namibia is going to be taking place. This is the third ever visit of an Indian Prime Minister to the nation. A very good morning. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Divya Vada. We have a whole lot lined up for you, including Sena thugs slapping their way, whether shopkeepers, canteen boys or toll staffers. This is the gutless and spineless Senas of Maharashtra. As far as the violence that's erupting on the streets of Maharashtra, no thappars for the rich and the powerful, but the VIP cowards of Maharashtra, as far as the Senas are concerned. Violence that you can see that is erupting in the state, starting with the shopkeeper of a sweet shop in Thane district who was thrashed by 7 M&S workers. On the other side, we have Sanjay Gaikwad of the Shiv Sena faction MLA who has thrashed the canteen boy for serving him dal, which was smelly. On the other side, we have M&S workers now thrashing a toll plaza in charge who has been thrashed, a staffer who has been thrashed in the Washim area. We will be getting you all the details of the MLA there slapping and punching over food to elected neta or the rowdy street thug. Well, is the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Eknath Shinde, watching? And what is the action that the government will take in this regard? 3 slapstick Senas. This is as far as what we've seen play out over the last couple of days. We have Radhika and Anuj joining us to get us the very latest. Abhishek Avasti joining us as well. Abhishek, over to you first. You went to the canteen, you spoke to the customers who said that the food quality needs improvement, but questioning the way the MLA assaulted the canteen staffer. You also spoke with Sanjay Gaikwad, who's been defiant. In fact, he's been bragging about bashing that poor canteen chap. Take us through the details of what happened here and what does Sanjay Gaikwad have to say?
Yeah, definitely, as the video was viral on the social media, definitely from there we started to track it out. And we'll have to understand, firstly, when we spoke to Sanjay Gaikwad, he clearly pointed out that he ordered rice, dal and 2 rotis at his room. When he consumed it, he thought that it's not of good quality. And he came down, we're right present outside that same canteen, right in the lobby of the canteen. He took that dal, and he made every person standing over there to smell it and identify that it is not good to consume. And at the same time, when he said that, who is the manager around? Call him. Then Yogesh Anna, his nickname is Yogesh Anna, which we have found right now. He came and he also said that yes, it is spoiled and it should not be consumed. Then he's like, then why it was served to me? And we see that he started hitting him badly. Just because there were certain other staff members around, they intervened and told them, leave the matter for now, please don't take it further. And somehow we can see he was very afraid, and and the staffers over here, as I spoke to them, they narrated, we could manage to speak to two of the waiters who were present yesterday night and were part of this entire incident. They also told me that it was not only MLA, there were certain people along with the MLA who were also present, who also hit Yogesh Anna. So not only MLA, the people present along with him also attacked him, and somehow by the intervention of staff members whom I spoke with, somehow Yogesh Anna was managed to escaped out of this canteen and somehow was saved. You can clearly see in the video how afraid is he. And then we tried to confront the MLA himself. He has no regret. He went on to say that I have been facing this trouble of spoiled food of this canteen from so many years. I've made several complaints, but no cognizance was taken about it. And later he said that yesterday, after the yesterday incident, he took the law in his own hand and started beating the manager, Yogesh Anna. So definitely he said that he has no regret. Being an MLA also, he will continue to do so, and this is the style of Shiv Sena style of functioning, is what he said when we confronted him. And again he said, I will again beat them if such quality of food is being served back to me. So now this is the situation out here. We are trying to speak to more eyewitnesses and also trying to track down where is Yogesh Anna currently. Back to you.
Right, Abhishek, let's just go across to our colleague Radhika Ramaswamy as well, joining us from Mumbai. Radhika, in the state of Maharashtra, multiple incidents have been captured on camera. This is blatant abuse of power. What has the government of Maharashtra been saying, and what is stopping them from taking action?
Absolutely. We are seeking answers from the government of Maharashtra. Multiple incidents of hooliganism, VIP, thuggery and abuse of power have been witnessed over the last few days, not just by MNS leaders, but also from Eknath Shinde Sena leaders and also some from UBT Sena as well. As far as state government is concerned, they've been sort of condemning many of these actions, but at the same time not really ordering for stringent steps or action in the name of FIR or disciplinary action not being taken. So therefore, state government really treading cautiously because, these are political equations that perhaps may be at stake, which is why they are being very, very careful at this point. But the fact remains that this culture of impunity is only continuing and intensifying in the state of Maharashtra. No accountability, no regret, no remorse, and this will only continue if, these people are not punished or no action is taken. If this goes on and if there are no consequences to their actions, they will continue to abuse their power and there will not be any accountability. So we'll really have to see, at least in the matter concerning the Buldhana MLA, will Eknath Shinde faction look into it? Will a disciplinary action be taken against this man, or will he be just forgiven for what has happened? And there have been other instances of Gundaism that we saw, of a toll plaza being destroyed and damaged by MNS goons, and of course in the name of language the number of people they assaulted and harassed. So therefore all these are being taken into consideration, and there is cognizance of this matter and there is condemnation as well, but absolutely no real action on the ground in the as far as FIRs or arrests are concerned. So we'll really have to wait and watch out for what Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis, has to say, considering the number of multiple incidents that have taken place of VIP, thuggery and hooliganism over the last few days.
It's not just over the last few days, Radhika. Let's just take this to Anuj. we've been seeing this time and again. We've been seeing this for years when it comes to the Shiv Sena. And this time around, a Shiv Sena MLA, Sanjay Gaikwad there, just being defiant about what he's done. In fact, bragging about bashing that poor chap. Anush, take us through the issues at hand when it comes to the state of Maharashtra, and what really needs to be done here, and what is the kind of action that is required in order to set an example, to set people straight when it comes to getting aggressive, getting violent and taking matters into their own hands, whether it's the rich or the powerful, or even now people belonging to political parties.
Well, you see, this entire matter, especially as far as Sanjay Gaikwad issue is concerned, he's someone who's been in the middle of controversies for quite some time, as we've been covering. And as we speak, although NDTV has already spoken to him, but there we have Sanjay Gaikwad, he's actually carried a bag of dal. That was, that is the point of contention in this matter. So one can see that he's still, we understand that when we caught him, the video had just gone viral. The chances of him receiving any sort of a directive from the party is quite less. But now one can safely assume that there has been some sort of conversation that has happened with the party officials. We've also heard from Minister of State and Home Department, who said that this should have been avoided, and a procedure should have been followed in this entire regard. But Sanjay Gaikwad still seems defiant about his ways. No remorse, no guilt, and no apology, of course, given as of yet. But talking about the larger issue about such kind of incidents taking place here in Maharashtra, while on one hand we have the thuggery that we've been highlighting since last 1 week, practiced by led by MNS workers, especially Mira Bhayandar and close by areas. We also have an add-on to that, where in Vashim, because one toll booth was incomplete, did not have the full facilities that it promised, the MNS workers took it on themselves to bring justice to the local people and took down the toll booth, or attempted to take down the toll booth. This is not the first time, as Radhika had said earlier, this is not the first time that MNS workers have attacked toll booths. In fact, from 2014 till 2016-17, the anti-toll booth agitation was one of the longest held agitation led by MNS in different parts of the state, and Raj Thackeray himself was at the forefront of it. So are they trying to bring up all the older agitation, considering that they've started getting bandwidth after the Mira Bhayandar issue, is something that we'll have to look into much detail. But the opposition holds that, especially with in the Sanjay Gaikwad matter, it is the duty of the government, now that it is an MLA from the ruling dispensation who's directly involved in this, it becomes the duty of the government, a duty of the Chief Minister and Home Minister Devendra Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde, the head of Shiv Sena Shinde faction, and the Chief Minister of the state, to come out clean in this matter, put out the stance of the party. We know that different leaders are given different perspectives. Many of them do not even have a clearer idea of what exactly unfolded, and which is why they want to look at both the sides. But a clear message from the party head and from the head of the state here in Maharashtra, cause in us understanding what the stance of the government is on this matter.
Absolutely. We've been seeing the opposition reacting when it comes to MNS workers and pledging their support when it comes to MNS workers. Take us through, what is the opposition saying to this particular video that's come to light? Take us through, we have spoken about how unapologetic the man has been. In fact, he has gone on to brag that he knows judo, he knows karate, he knows wrestling, and so on and so forth, and saying that he would do this again in this particular regard. He has completely had no remorse whatsoever when asked categorically by our colleague Abhishek. Take us through, in this particular situation, how's the opposition reacting to this?
Gaikwad has been in the line of firing for the opposition for quite some time. Only last week he gave a statement about Chhatrapati Shivaji and Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, which was again in a very controversial light, and on the basis of that as well we saw the opposition attack him. As of now, there has been no sort of a dharna which usually takes place outside the Vidhan Sabha on the stairs, held by the opposition. But we've spoken to individual leaders who are very adamant on Chief Minister taking an action as soon as possible. Now, only 15 minutes ago, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis made his way to Vidhan Bhavan as the proceedings started only 10 minutes back, and he does come downstairs to interact with the media in the afternoon post lunch. So we are expecting Chief Minister to be present here as well at that point of time. But the opposition, especially led by UBT, who are the arch rivals of Shinde faction of Sena, are pointing out the hypocrisy of Shinde Sena, who are anyways have found themselves in tricky terrain over the ongoing language row, where they do want to go out and extend their support to the the language warriors, but at the same time they have to be aware and conscious of the fact that they are still a part of the government. We saw what happened yesterday with Pratap Sarnaik, who minister and became a part of the rally to which the government themselves hadn't given a permission to. So, this just adds on to the woes of a Shinde faction of Sena, and it also highlights in whether there is lack of communication, considering that the inconsistency between the thoughts and actions of the leaders of Shinde faction of Sena has been right on the top. No matter how questionable the actions of certain sections of opposition are, or how is or they are on this, at least both of them are following a consistent line of thinking or of action. But with Shinde Sena, you do not have that, right? Half of their leaders claim one thing, while the other half are claiming and doing or getting, or rather participating in a completely different and opposing activity. So this inconsistency in Shinde Sena is something that should be addressed by Eknath Shinde, is what the opposition is demanding from this.
Right, this incident that took place at the Akashvani MLA canteen in Churchgate was caught on camera. That video clip that you can see that has gone completely viral, raising questions about the conduct of elected representatives in public. The MLA has said that he does not have any regret for what he's done. He's gone on to say that this is the Shiv Sena style. He was asked if such conduct really suits an MLA. He spoke with my colleague Abhishek Awasthi, and he went on to say that he is an MLA who is a warrior too, and when someone chooses not to understand despite repeated attempts, he uses the language of Balasaheb Thackeray. Let's listen in to that interview with my colleague Abhishek Awasthi.
पहली बात तो जो वीडियो वायरल हो रहा है सर, उसमें आप कैंटीन मैनेजर को मारते हुए नजर आ रहे। पूरा मुद्दा क्या था? क्या आपको वो दाल परोसी गई जिसमें खराब दाल बताई जा रही है? क्या तकलीफ हुई?
उन्हें दाल परोसी नहीं गई थी। मेरे रूम में जो मेरा रूटीन टाइम होता है 10 बजे का, ऑलरेडी मैं कभी भी बाहर खाना नहीं खाता हूँ, ना गांव में खाता हूँ ना इधर खाता हूँ। तो मैंने खाना पार्सल मंगाया, जिसमें मैंने दाल चावल और 2 चपाती मंगाया था। सादा खाना मैंने मंगाया था, और मैं एक दाल चावल का निवाला मैंने डाला तो मुझे बहुत गंदा लगा। सो मैं लगा कुछ मुँह में आया होगा। सेकंड खाया तो मुझे उल्टी हो गई, और इतना भयानक फील होने लगा। तो फिर मैंने मैं जो कपड़े पे था वही कपड़े में कैंटीन में गया, और वो जिन लोगों ने मुझे ये सब दिया था उनको पूछा कि आपने दिया है? बोले हाँ दिया है। तो मैंने बोला आप स्मेल लीजिए इसका। उन्होंने स्मेल लिया तो बोले बहुत ख़राब है। बाद में फिर मैंने मैनेजर को बुलाया, उसको मैंने स्मेल दिया। उनके 6 कर्मचारी को स्मेल देने के बाद में उन्होंने बताया कि ये खाने जैसा नहीं है, यानी वो गुस्टा दर्जे का नहीं था, वो सड़ा हुआ खाना था। और फिर मैंने उन लोगों को 2-4 साल में जितनी बार भी उनको मैंने समझाया कि आप मुझे खाना अच्छा दिया करो, ये ख़राब खाना मत दिया करो। इनका मटन 15 दिन पहले का रहता, इनका चिकन 15 दिन का रहता, इनके अंडे अंदर से पूरे काले हुए रहते। मैं किसान हूँ, मैं सब्जी और सब के बारे में मैं आधे घंटे के हिसाब से बता दूँ कि सब्जी का खाना कब बनाया गया है। तो यहाँ महाराष्ट्र में से आए हुए हर दिन सेशन में 10,000 लोगों के जान से ये लोग खिलवाड़ करते हैं, आमदार के जान से खिलवाड़ करते हैं, महाराष्ट्र से आने वाले किसानों की जान से ये लोग खेलते हैं। और इनकी मुजरी इतनी है, कोई कंप्लेंट करे तो उसका ये सुनते भी नहीं हैं। और कई लोगों ने मुझे बताया कि हमारे खाने में ये दिया, कोई सुतली आई, कहीं चिपकी ले आई, कहीं कुछ गंदा आया। और 200-400 कंप्लेंट होने के बाद भी आज ये जो कंत्राटदार है 30 साल से यहाँ पे कुंडली मार के बैठा है।
आप एक विधायक है, वो भी रूलिंग पार्टी के विधायक है, इस तरीके से हाथ उठाना कितना